Buffalo Bills a game back of the Kansas City Chiefs with the tiebreaker. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. The Bills have a bye. Chiefs head to Carolina. Hopefully they make that some sort of a bye and not one of those to where undefeated team, you lose
17-13.
You lose a great game and then you no-show the next week and all of a sudden you're 9-2. And it's how did you lose that freaking game? That's the one that's going to cost you a 1 seed. We'll see if that's the case. I don't think it'll be the case because I think this team is championship caliber. And although last year on Christmas Day, it was one of those head scratchers as to how do you lose that game, and you just lost the number 1 seed or even the number 2 seed at that point. And now, do you rest your guys the last game of the season because, it doesn't really matter. You're locked into whatever your seed is at that point. So we'll certainly get into this Chiefs game the rest of the season over these next 4 hours. Again, 913-381-810. We will hear from Andy Reid coming up later on in the show. And Mick Schaefer will join us, KSHB 41 Sports Director. We got Learn Funniest Best from the weekend. Let's get into the show here and the conversation. Chiefs lose 30-21. This is one of those to where it was a 2-score game and not necessarily indicative of how back and forth the game was, all the different lead changes. But regardless, the score is the score. I think it's okay to point that out because we've pointed out the fact that it's been more double-digit wins that turned out to be single-score wins when the Raiders score late. It was a 16-point lead over the 49ers, and they scored late. If we're going to point that out, then I think we can point out the losses that are 9 points that were 2 or 5 or 9, whatever it is. A loss is a loss is a loss. And some of the takeaways that I have for this, like my first reaction is, all right, see how the rest of the season goes.
Well, you finally don't have to talk about the undefeated season anymore. That's almost like a weight lifted.
I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. And as we said, I started talking about the undefeated season November 11th. We talked about that 2 weeks before November 11th and then said on November 11th, let's talk about it because that would be leading into the Bills game.
I pushed back hard.
Yeah, but I don't think that's wrong in terms of saying I earlier than that. Yeah, I think it was premature. Heading into the Bills game and saying if they get past the Bills, their undefeated chances double.
Yeah.
Like percentage chances at FPI and all the projections double to go undefeated if they were to beat the Bills. And so that's why I said Monday, we can start having that conversation if they're sitting 9-0, if they get past the Bills. They didn't. Now we move on and talk about the bigger goal, which is a three-peat for this team.
I think the takeaways are you should not be ranting and raving. The Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and they're 9-1, and they still have the 1 seed. They still have the path.
Yeah.
They control their own destiny.
Exactly.
They made it tougher, but they control their own destiny. Good teams lose to good teams all the time. We just have, quite frankly, not been used to watching that over the past 3 years. So we're not used to the team losing, even if it is to a good team. The Bills, I thought, had a great game plan. One of the ones that stands out, that 3rd and 4, Mahomes rolled out, looked like he was going to try and scramble. Almost against any other team, he picks that up.
Yeah.
The Bills had a spy, and that spy forced Mahomes.
Having a spy on a quarterback that runs every once in a while, that's a novel concept. Maybe the Chiefs will do that one day.
But so, like...
They did it against Lamar, but...
I thought the Bills had a great game plan. Josh Allen made some ridiculous throws. Josh Allen showed why he is the second-best quarterback in the NFL. If you want legit analysis,
I do.
CB2 is still a major concern for Kansas City. I mean, a massive concern for Kansas City. The tackle situation, still a ridiculous concern for Kansas City. I do think the spy situation's interesting. I wonder how much that is the regular season versus Spags is going to do that in the postseason.
Maybe.
I almost want to give Spags the benefit of the doubt there, but everyone knew Josh Allen was running there, and you didn't put anyone on him. That was perplexing. So whether you want to say they're waiting for the postseason or he got out-coached, that's at least something to monitor.
Yeah. No, I think the bigger picture to me is that they lost a game against the second best, or maybe it turns out to be the best team in the AFC this year. On the road, in a back-and-forth game where there were lots of plays along the way that the Chiefs had opportunities and they didn't take advantage. Now, it wasn't one-sided to where every single 50-50 play went the Bills' way. The Chiefs had some plays that went their way.
Sure.
Chiefs had some plays that, they made at great times. Xavier Worthy, the deep ball to him, the first one on the drive that was a touchdown, he got hit by two guys while he was making the catch. That's really, really good for a rookie. He's got zero awareness from the sideline, but getting hit while catching the ball, he held on to that. Like, I haven't seen him just flat out drop a pass yet. Okay, he catches the ball. I think he's got a lack of awareness on the sideline. I think Mahomes could certainly throw it a little bit better, and it's a 70-yard touchdown. But it's a lot of things that go into that. So the Chiefs didn't get, or the Bills didn't get every single 50-50 call, 50-50 play that went their way. But there were a lot of those in this game. And that's where, my takeaway is not like, the sky is falling and, oh, my God, this team's going to lose. And now, they've got to fire everybody. And Brett Veach should be ashamed of himself. And Andy Reid, what is he doing? And Steve Spagnuolo, what an idiot. Like, these guys forgot how to play football overnight and forgot how to coach football overnight. They lost to the second-best quarterback in the NFL on the road and maybe the best team in the AFC. I'll still take the Chiefs. But maybe the best team in the AFC when it's all said and done at the end of this year. If the Chiefs get home field advantage and Buffalo comes into Kansas City and wins, and we can't really complain about, well, the Chiefs are the bet, depending on how that goes, we'll see. But losing on the road to Buffalo, there is nothing to be ashamed of that.
No.
How they did it, there are takeaways. Like you talked about, Sterling, if you're going to win a game. There is no perfect team in the NFL. There are zero perfect teams in the NFL. Every single team in the NFL has a flaw.
Detroit's pretty darn close.
Maybe. We'll see. But every single team has a flaw. And if you get into the postseason and that flaw gets exposed or you don't overcome that flaw, you will lose. One of the Chiefs' biggest flaws last year was the fact that they couldn't stop turning the ball over. They would lose the turnover battle. And against the Ravens, what happened? They were +3. They got 2 different turnovers in the end zone against the Ravens, and they won by 7. If their turnover issues happened in the Ravens, we're not talking about a three-peat right now. They overcame their deficiencies at the most crucial time. Their deficiencies showed in this game. The next time they match up, it may be the Bills' deficiency. It may be Andy Reid saying, we know or feel you can't stop the run up the middle between the guards, so we're going to pound Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco more than we did the first go-around. Because there was a lot of successful runs for the Chiefs. There just weren't many of them, especially in the first half. So getting away from the run, maybe that's the lesson you come away from this. Cornerback 2 is an issue. Maybe the lesson you come away from this is if you're going to play man-to-man, I'm not sure why Steve Spagnuolo had McDuffie on Mac Hollins a couple of times and left Najee Johnson on Amari Cooper a couple of times. 2 biggest throws to Amari Cooper, it was Najee Johnson one-on-one with Cooper.
Yeah.
Once on the left side, once on the right side. So you can't just say, well, he was keeping McDuffie on one side of the field. No, Najee Johnson on the left side, the one where it was the challenged and reviewed play. Left side was the one,
Yes.
the 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
Right side was the reviewed play. Both of those, McDuffie was one-on-one on the other side with Mac Hollins. I don't know the thought process behind that. That makes no sense. Not having a spy on Josh Allen makes no sense. Not being able to pressure Josh Allen with just 4 makes sense because that's what has been the issue all year long. If they were to get a sack from time to time, mix in a sack here or there, the game might be different. They would be overcoming their deficiencies in somebody winning one-on-one, even though they haven't been doing it consistently. But at a big moment, it happens. 3rd and 9 on the final drive. The pass to, I think it was Shakir that Brian Cook came up and made the hit.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian, that 9-yard catch, Brian Cook came up and made the hit. He blitzed Bolton and Shamari Connor. What got him there is that blitzing Bolton and Connor left the middle wide open, and Brian Cook was playing deep to disguise the blitz. And when Brian Cook's coming up to get the middle, it's too late for him to hit a wide open Khalil Shakir. The issue is Chris Jones whipped the left tackle.
Yeah.
Whipped him. Another half second, he's engulfing Josh Allen. That was 3rd and 9 with 4.5 minutes to go in the game. Down by 2. But he blitzed because he can't trust his guys to get there with bringing only 4. So he blitzed 2 guys, leaving the middle exposed. If he blitzes 1 and Nick Bolton's there in the middle, I think Chris Jones just, engulfs Josh Allen. and it's, fourth down and they're punting. But that's not what happened because Spagnuolo cannot trust his front four to get there. That's a problem.
Yes.
That got exposed in this game. Okay, so next time they match up, does it get exposed? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe the next time they match up, that 70-yard pass, 40 yards in the air, is either completed and the Chiefs have the ball 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line of the Bills, or it's a 70-yard touchdown. Maybe next go-around on 4th and 2, they've got a spy and Josh Allen gets out of there and then Drew Tranquil's right there to make the tackle and they get stopped. Or Chris Jones wins quickly. Or there's a 2nd and 10 that was a 9-yard scramble by Josh Allen that they end up getting up quickly and doing a QB sneak. Maybe that 2nd and 10, an appropriate, holding call on Chris Jones is called.
Yeah.
Josh Allen stepped right up, went by Chris Jones, and Chris Jones just turned around to the ref and was like, what the hell? Because Jones was about to tackle Josh Allen, and his right shoulder got pulled back to the tackle. And Jones just looks at the refs like, what the hell's going on? Whereas Mahomes runs for 20 yards down the field, and they call a hold on something that wasn't even a part of the play, that Mahomes was already past the guy. That wouldn't have made that big of a difference if it was a hold or not because of the angle that Mahomes was going.
Sure.
It was a hold.
Sure.
It was a hold, so they should call it.
And it was a pick play, but I
know,
don't want to blame the...
I didn't blame the refs.
No, I know.
Am I blaming
know.
the refs?
No,
I'm
you're
talking
not.
about plays in a game that here or there go differently. The Chiefs win the game. I'm talking about why this game doesn't bother me that they lost. Why it doesn't worry me that the sky is falling, that all of a sudden everything's terrible. Like I was listening to the postgame. Jack does a great job on the postgame, and I don't know who the caller was, but Travis Kelce doesn't care. Chris Jones is lazy. The defense sucks. Spagnuolo doesn't know what he's doing. Andy Reid can't call plays. Patrick Mahomes is captain checkdown now. Like all of these things are happening with the Chiefs, and they've lost their first game in 11 months. Like that is such the overreaction that I'm like, hey, it's fine.
Yeah.
This is still either the best or at worst the second best team in the AFC. And when you're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in your conference, you've got a chance to win the Super Bowl. And that's what you ask for, is a chance to win the Super Bowl. And when push comes to shove, when you get to the end of the season, for whatever reason, this team turns it on. Mahomes, only stretch of, did he go 3 games without an interception here recently? In these last few games? I'm trying to see real quick, game log. No, he went 2. He went back-to-back games, yeah. Tampa Bay and Denver without an interception. So dating back to the beginning of last year, the 3-game stretch that he has had without an interception was the 4 games in the playoffs last year. He's different.
Yeah.
He's different in the playoffs. He talked about yesterday, sense of urgency. They should have a sense of urgency early on. Well, they have a sense of urgency in the playoffs. I don't know if they didn't yesterday, if that's just a cliche, whatever, but it certainly felt like when the Chiefs had to have it, they went and scored.
How concerned are you guys? Just going back to the pass rush of KC and the blitz, because I do think that was a main takeaway. Jack, right here. The offensive line of the Bills is not great. They're okay. Deion Dawkins is a really solid left tackle. Not graded out particularly well this year, but the rest of those 4 guys...
And their starting right tackle was out.
How big of a concern is that? Because you're seeing Spags have to send it, and we saw it even later on in the game on the touchdown, particularly when they sent the house. There was the big play, all that stuff. But because they sent everyone, it left him wide open.
Yeah.
That was a big reason why. How big of a concern is this for you going forward?
I think it's something, at least when you're playing Buffalo, you feel a little uneasy about. Because for me, it wasn't so much winning the one-on-one battles. It was the fact that they picked up nearly every blitz that Steve Spagnuolo had. And I kind of just have memories in these 2 matchups or these previous matchups where the Chiefs rarely get home to Josh Allen, whether that be they're having to worry about him escaping the pocket, he gets the ball out quickly. Buffalo game plan for that really well because that's what Spags loves to do. I would also like to hold out hope that when Charles Omenihu comes back, that strengthens the defensive line. You feel like Chris Jones, Omenihu, George Karlaftis, and Turk Wharton all on the front line with guys that are able to blitz on certain third down situations. That would be different in the next go-around in January, assuming these teams meet up again. But to me, though, I think with this loss last night, the deficiencies are really 2, and it's been 2 that we've known now for 9 games. Left tackle's an issue, and the second, or not 9 games because Jalen Watson was healthy for the first 4 or 5. Let's say the last 4 to 5 games. Left tackle's been an issue. The second cornerback spot has been an issue. that really, to me, is going to make or break this group come January. Not so much the defensive line's inability to get there. I think the next go-around, whether this game's at Orchard Park or it's at Arrowhead Stadium, there will be a different game plan. There will be a spy for Josh Allen because these teams are so familiar with each other. It's not like this was the first meeting or the second meeting. We all know that it doesn't matter if you're playing your best football in November, right? If Buffalo is the best team in the AFC right now, there's the banner you can hang. What matters is if you're the best team come January. And last year, we saw that. The Chiefs weren't even the first or the second best team. They were the third best team, and it didn't matter because this team knows how to play in January. But if they don't have that good stretch like they had last year or in their previous 2 Super Bowls before that, I think it's going to be the 2 glaring issues. And it's that good quarterbacks, Josh Allen, can pick on the number 2 cornerback spot, or number 2, they can just continuously beat up the left tackle position and put a lot of heat on Patrick Mahomes. I believe it was a 37% pressure rate last. That it's not going to win you many games when you're already so banged up in the receiving core and in the running back room.
I think the second cornerback spot is something that we can talk about. And maybe it goes hand in hand with the inability for your front four to put pressure. I think Josh Allen creates a unique issue for the Chiefs and every team.
Sure.
And that is, I understand why Steve Spagnuolo blitzes against Josh Allen, because if you are rushing with 4 and somebody wins, does that then create a lane for Josh Allen to escape?
We saw with Karlaftis.
Yes.
In the first half.
It happened twice. Karlaftis spun inside and won. If that's Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, statues, Karlaftis probably gets there, they throw it away. He runs to his right, finds a wide-open Mac Hollins because it creates the extra area there where if he's stuck in the pocket, it's a little bit more of a difficult throw with the defender trailing Mac Hollins going to the sideline. There was a scramble by Josh Allen that picked up a first down in the second half, and Turk Wharton won quickly. Like, beat the guard, got around him, but got around him to his right. And Chris Jones was beating the guy to the left. And all Josh Allen did was hit his back foot, see Turk, and take off and run right up the middle. Well, Turk won.
Yeah.
He got the pressure. He won that rep. The problem with winning that rep is you created a wide open lane and you don't have a spy for Josh Allen this go around. So next time, and I understand why Spags blitzes, because I'm blitzing so that I can get somebody with pressure that is unblocked while the other guys keep their pass rush lane integrity so Josh Allen doesn't have an escape route. If you put pressure with the front 4, he's able to escape. It's what makes him a superstar. It's what makes him difficult to go against. If you had Chris Jones, Micah Parsons, and Myles Garrett, on the defensive line, yeah, it might be a little bit different, right? But you don't. And so how do you figure out a way to slow the offense down while not putting yourself at extra risk? I think one of those would be, manning up Amari Cooper with Trent McDuffie. I think another one of those would be spying Josh Allen. This would have been the perfect time to spy Josh Allen because you don't have Kincaid out there playing. You had Dawson Knox out there playing. So there are some issues, certainly. I think one of the things that we're looking at is the Chiefs have lost 3 cornerbacks from last year. And I say cornerbacks, 3 of them, because we know about L'Jarius Sneed, we know about Jalen Watson, and whatever the heck's going on with Josh Williams. So they are 3 cornerbacks less than what we thought they would be going into the end of last year. Those were their top 4 with Trent McDuffie, and they've lost 3 of their top 4. Josh Williams didn't play a snap.
That's a
Najee
really
Johnson
good call.
played 100% of the snaps yesterday. Whatever's happened with him, Watson out and Sneed gone, there's no depth in the secondary anymore because I think the Chiefs were planning on having Williams and Watson and Najee Johnson and having a choice between those guys as to who's playing the best at certain times. They don't have a choice anymore. They've clearly decided Josh Williams ain't it.
Well, which is
and it's
frustrating
Najee Johnson.
because Joshua Williams graded out very well last year. Now, again, the eye test, I don't think he was exceptional, but he was a really solid player. He was a legitimate CB3 bordering CB2 last year, right?
Yeah.
If he was your CB2 going into this year, I think you were okay. And you're correct. When he's been on the field, it's been noticeable.
Yeah.
And you saw it Najee Johnson last night or yesterday. They clearly think that whatever Najee Johnson was doing, which wasn't great, is still an upgrade and better than Joshua Williams.
He was in position for both of those throws. They were great throws by Josh Allen. He got his head turned around a little bit late on the 3rd and 7 on the opening drive. 3rd and 6, I guess it was 3rd and 6, the 30-yard pass. got his head turned around a little bit late. He was there. I think McDuffie would have done a better job of riding Cooper out to the sideline to make it a little more difficult catch. So if he caught it, he had to get the drag down rather than just running up the red line with Cooper. I think McDuffie does a really awesome job of that, of shrinking the space between the field and the sideline. That's something certainly Najee Johnson can get better at.
Yeah.
He was in position a couple of times. Great throws by Josh Allen. There's some issues with this team, certainly. There are issues with every single team. What happens the rest of the season, though? What happens at left tackle the rest of the season? Kingsley Suamataia was a healthy and active. Ethan Driscoll was active for the first time this year. They just flipped those. Suamataia has been active, Ethan Driscoll inactive. They flipped him. Was Driscoll going to come in if Wanya Morris banged up his knee again? I would guess they would go Joe Thuney out to left tackle and bring in Caliendo. That would be my guess. I can't imagine that in that game against Buffalo with Ethan Driscoll active, that your first snaps in an NFL game would be in Buffalo against Rousseau, who's had a great breakout season. He's one of the top in pass rush win rate. He 20% yesterday too. I mean, again, 20% pass rush win rate for Gregory Rousseau. I mean, he's been really good. I highly doubt that would have been the strategy there. So if that's not the strategy, then what's the point of activating Ethan Driscoll and inactivating Kingsley Suamataia, except to say there's a new backup in town. There's a new backup in town, and that's Ethan Driscoll, or it's Joe Thuney. I don't know. Maybe it was Joe Thuney if you needed him for a drive, or Driscoll if you needed him for a drive. Joe Thuney if Wanya was out the rest of the game. I'm not sure what the case was. 913-381-0810. Let's sneak in Jerry here before we go to break, and then we'll continue talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, the loss to the Buffalo Bills. Jerry, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Hi, I'm Jerry, and I'm a Chiefsaholic. Somebody gave me your number and said you could. Somebody gave me your number and said you could help me out, but I think it's just getting worse.
We are enablers. I apologize. I tried. I tried to lead you.
That's okay. I thought the game was really good last night. I'm one of the dummies that said 17-0, but I'm a dummy that says that every year for the last 5 years. So, hey, I'll live with it. I can accept it. Funny thing, I really got a kick out of Xavier Worthy getting all those touches like that, and they found out they probably didn't plan it the way it worked out. It was working really, really well. I wish they would have gave Kareem Hunt more touches. I thought they had a chance to win it. I told my brother, they got it within 2. They could win this with a field goal. But I didn't even think that they should have went for 2 on that.
Yeah, that's not really discussed a lot, but it was something that I took notes of at the time and just wrote "go for 2?" and then typed it out in my notes. We haven't really talked about it yet, but
I just thought they could win it with a field goal. But yeah,
so did Andy.
You got to let the game play out.
Mm-hmm.
I had the sad task of texting my great niece in Kentucky. She just moved near Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you're fine. There's 17,000 different ways to say it.
Yeah. Anyway, I texted her. I said, well, the Chiefs with this loss, they dropped from the 1 seed all the way down to the 1 seed. So they're still the best team in the NFL.
That's right.
And I said, go Chiefs. She'll send it back to. She wore a Chiefs hoodie. I felt bad for her. She really wanted them to win. But, hey, we got a really great team, and I appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks for letting me bother you.
Jerry, thank you for the phone call, man. 913-381-0810. Yes, Xavier Worthy, big part of the game plan yesterday. I don't know if that was specific to the Bills and having a little fun with the fact that they traded up to get Worthy, or if it was just happenstance. And I think it's a little more than that when the first play of the game is a little reverse to Xavier Worthy.
Because that would all be in the first 15. All the were all 5 targets or 4 of the targets, were those all in the first 15?
Well, I mean, they had the first play of the game was Xavier Worthy, and then that was 2 plays. They went 3 and out, so there's 5 plays, and then so Xavier Worthy passed to Xavier Worthy.
Right.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy.
So 4
passed to Xavier Worthy.
I mean, just something to keep in mind there, which you can take it 2 ways. It's awesome they got him involved early because clearly it was working.
Mm-hmm.
2, why did they go away from it, or can you only scheme him open on the first 15?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple there. They showed some new wrinkles against Buffalo. Now, maybe that's to play off later on when they face him in the playoffs. The new wrinkles, how often they were putting a wide receiver in the backfield. and then running him in motion from one side to the other as a running back and then putting him out in the flat. Like we saw, wide receivers are in the backfield a lot, especially in the first 15. I'm like, okay, we haven't really seen that this year. 913-3-810-810. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll certainly talk more about this game, the micro things that happen in this game, any bigger issues coming away from this game. Are the issues fatal flaws for this Chiefs team? The 1 seed the rest of the way. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, the 3 teams that are vying for that 1 seed. We'll talk about those things, and we'll continue rolling more zone right after this. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson, Dylan Michaels, 913-3-810-810. Field Yates coming up at noon. Nick Schaefer, 1 o'clock, KSHB 41 Sports Director. Learn funniest best. 913-3-810-810. Taking your phone calls. Also get into some text. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. Text says, think Worthy played a bigger part because the Bills were playing mostly man. Yeah, that's true and concerning at the same time because they were playing mostly man, but Hopkins and Kelsey couldn't really get free off enough to where you could take advantage of them playing man. 913-912-4810 text says, where were our refs at? That script was BS yesterday, man. I hated that script. They need to change that script. That was a terrible chapter.
Where was the internet at? That's where what I'm wondering more so is where was the outrage and all the angles and all the farming engagement that was supposed to happen?
No, Dylan.
You know what?
After the game was over, all I saw was they didn't even review Justin Watson's 4th down catch.
Oh my gosh.
Are you kidding me? They didn't review that?
I'm glad I stayed off the internet.
There you go.
Night, yeah.
Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. Like also somebody who's very smart and that I follow, that I'm friends with, not from here, said, wow, they didn't review Justin Watson's non-catch. The Chiefs are never escaping these allegations. Like that, down 9 with a minute and a half to go and 1 timeout remaining. That's the play you point to and go, see, the refs have it out. The refs are in the bag for the Chiefs.
I am surprised they didn't.
Yeah, they should have.
They should have reviewed that.
I wish they would have because the Chiefs weren't going to win the game.
It didn't matter.
And it would shut people up. But the fact that people are actually pointing to that and saying, see, told you. Like, people do, the critical thinking is lost on a lot of people. The refs are terrible. The refs help out the Chiefs. Like, they're so good that they that they go out of their way to help the Chiefs at times, but they're also just terrible the rest of the game. Like the last 2 minutes, all of a sudden they turn it on. They become these cyborg robots that see everything and have a way to manipulate the game in the Chiefs' favor. People are so stupid.
Yeah, refs are just atrocious. I mean, anyone who watched the South Carolina-Mizzou game could attest to that absolute atrocity of a ref and just everything in general. But like, you watch the Bengals game. Like, refs are bad. Yeah. They called a penalty on Trey Hendrickson. Well, there's no such thing as a horse collar in the pocket on the quarterback. They call that a horse. Like that, right? The refs don't even know their own rules.
Well, there was no face mask on Josh Allen, and it was intentional grounding. But, but it was a 3rd down. They were punting anyway, so I wasn't as upset about that.
It didn't matter, and there was intentional ground because they didn't get back to the line of scrimmage, which never gets called.
And there wasn't a player in the area.
Justin Herbert had 2 or 3, and I was singing Herbert's praises, but he had 2 last night that were clearly intentional grounding. That refs just suck.
Yeah,
it's hard. Sure. I mean, again, it's hard. It's a hard job, but to act like it's a conspiracy to me is so ridiculous because you look around the NFL at any other game, you'll see 7 calls a game that have you scratching your dome.
Yeah, I mean, people last week were complaining about a call in the second quarter as to why it was rigged for the Chiefs because of a call in the second quarter. So it's all dumb. I was hoping that maybe if the Chiefs lost a game and there was a critical call that went against them, that it would shut people up. Which is why I really wanted them to review the Justin Watson play and just say it was incomplete and end the game there. And just so you can go, oh, see, they're trying to help out the Chiefs, ignoring the Wanya Morris hold and all of that. It just doesn't even matter. I'm not even going to talk about it. 913-912-4810, except for that was a funny text of, hey, where were our refs at? Like, did they not?
That was a great
I mean, did the refs not make the trip to Buffalo? Like, what the heck, man? Did they were they snowed? It didn't even look like it was snowing there, but somehow they couldn't get there in time. 913-912-4810. So we talk about some of the specific individual things with the defense as there are some issues. And maybe those issues is how it manifests in ways on the field, because to me, the biggest issue in the game yesterday, the biggest difference was the Bills on 3rd down. They were 9 of 15, and 6 of those 9 3rd down conversions were 6 or more yards. I mean, the Chiefs do that, and it's backbreaking, and they find ways to win close games. They convert some of those 3rd downs that, in theory, more times than not, would be drive enders. They were not drive enders. They ended up being drive extenders. Some of those by Josh Allen creating. And we saw what happens on the flip side of a superstar quarterback finding a way to make a play when the play breaks down.
It felt like you were playing the Chiefs.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
what it felt like when teams play Kansas City. That's what it felt like for Kansas City, where you get them into a 3rd and long, and what happens? They find a way to pick it up, whether it's through the air or Josh Allen make it a superhuman play or with his legs.
Yeah, and it's not like the Bills' defense stepped up and was like, oh, man, they got stops at the right time. They didn't. The Chiefs went down and scored to make it a 2-point game, and then the Bills' offense, Josh Allen, just as if it was Patrick Mahomes, went and made plays. But the defensive part of it, this has been something we've been tracking and talking about for a little bit, that these final drives by teams, it's now 3 weeks in a row. Tampa Bay down by 7. They went 10 plays, 81 yards, and 1 minute and 49 seconds to tie the game. Denver last week, 13 plays, 43 yards, 6 minutes, setting up a blocked field goal. And then yesterday evening, 12 plays, 70 yards, 5.5 minutes, touchdown to make it a 9-point game. Last 3 games, the final drive for the opposing team, down by 7, down by 1 or 2, and up by 2. 35 plays, 194 yards, 13 minutes off the clock. 14 points and a blocked field goal. That's now 3 weeks in a row this has happened, but the Chiefs' defense cannot get off the field. And if that's the case, then you have to start coaching a little different. And moving forward, does Andy Reid go for 2 after scoring the touchdown to bring them within 3? Down by 9, score a touchdown, it's 6. Do you go for 2? Now, if they don't get it and get a stop and kick a field goal to go to overtime and lose in overtime, Andy Reid is a dunce. And why would you go for 2? Because you go for 1, and now a field goal wins the game, and now you lost in overtime because you're an idiot. Point being, if we're tracking these things and the defense's inability to get off the field, you cannot go into the next game or the game after that and bank on you're going to get the ball back. You should probably coach for worst case scenario, our defense gives up a touchdown. So if I go for 2 here, we are now down by 1. And therefore, a touchdown and an extra point, it is still a 1-possession game. We can get the ball back and go and tie the game. And if I'm down by 1 after converting the 2-point conversion and they kick a field goal, I still need a touchdown the same way that I would have needed a touchdown if I was down by 2 or 3 and they kicked a field goal. I would still need the touchdown. So 2 out of the 3 scenarios, you would still have needed a touchdown to win the game. And the worst case scenario, which is what happened, they score a touchdown and the game is over.
Yeah.
Because now you're down by 9. I don't think Andy Reid's ever going to go for 2 there. I think he's going to trust his defense. I think he's going to say, even if we hold him to a field goal, we're going to go and score a touchdown. I think that's how he will play it. But if the defense continues to not be able to get off the field, then you have to coach in a way that you say, no matter what, we can get the ball back and go and tie or win the game the next possession. They cannot go and score and end the game. Now, maybe they don't get the 2-point conversion, and the result is still the same. Now you lose by 10. It's still the same. But that's sort of the point. Losing by 10 or by 9, it's kind of the same. If you don't get the 2-point conversion and then you kick the field goal, you would say, well, you could have won by kicking the field goal. Now you go to overtime. Okay. Then at that point, you take overtime. Sure. Because you'd been trailing by 9 2 different times in the second half. You take overtime at that point. All right, that's fine. You kick the field goal, and now you force overtime. We'll see what the coin flip looks like, and if the defense can go out there and get a stop. Because at that point, would the Bills be going for it on 4th and 3 or 4th and 2? I think they would. I think they should in overtime as well, because it's a little bit different when you say well, at that point, a field goal would have won the game as well if you don't pick up the 4th down. So the Bills played it correctly.
Yes.
They got aggressive. They said, we're going to win the game. We're not going to hope that the Chiefs don't make plays. We're going to go for it here. And if we don't get it, I'll sleep just fine. And McDermott said that after the game. It's not result-oriented. If we wouldn't have picked it up, I'm still completely comfortable with the call there because we've seen that guy on the other side go and do those things. We wanted to make sure the next time he touched the ball, it didn't matter if he scored or not.
Yeah, it was a smart play.
And that's what they did.
And they talked about, from the get-go, you have to, if you're going to beat Kansas City, you have to be aggressive. Because if you're not aggressive, they will find a way to beat you. They are the better team.
The Bucs weren't aggressive.
They weren't aggressive, and it cost them.
Yeah, and Buffalo was, and it paid off for them. And good on the Chiefs didn't make the play. Josh Allen did.
I think this defense's inability to get off the field, too, goes all the way back to that first game against the Raiders in Vegas, and that was obviously the first game without Jalen Watson. Last time they had Watson was in San Francisco, and Brock Purdy had the, 4 picks, 3 picks, whatever it was, and that, to me, was the last time the defense truly looked really, really strong. In these last 4 games, they've given up 88 points in these 4 games. One of them being the 30 points against Buffalo, but then you have Baker Mayfield without his 2 top weapons, forcing overtime, having that drive in less than 2 minutes where you go 80-plus yards to tie the game. You get lucky that they don't go for 2. That might have changed the outcome of that game. Against Denver, it was only 14 points, but still they had 2 easy drives in the first half. Trent McDuffie got burned, and then they have the game-winning drive, or should have been a game-winning drive, but the field goal block. I think right now when you have an offense staying out there on the field or when the Chiefs can't get out there, it's because for a quarterback in their mind, they know where to go. They know where to target on a third down situation. It's not Trent McDuffie. There's very few times you're going to throw at Trent McDuffie and just risk an incompletion or worse, interception. I think we saw a handful of times, maybe not just the last drive Buffalo had, but on some scoring drives, it was we're throwing it one-on-one to Amari Cooper with Najee Johnson on him. Or before that, in the previous weeks, it was, where's Joshua Williams at? We're going to throw at him and test him. If it's incomplete, okay, we still are going to test that guy over who else is covering our receivers. We're not going to throw at McDuffie. We may not throw at Justin Reed. We may not throw at, even at times like Chris Rowland Wallace. But this number 2 spot is clearly going to be Najee Johnson right now. And unless he steps up or the Chiefs give him extra help, that's going to be the focus, I think, for a lot of quarterbacks. And worst case is that in the postseason, that really burns you. Where on those 3rd and long situations, it's we're going to scheme the guy open where Najee Johnson is at or where Josh Williams is at. And if the Chiefs can't fix that, I do worry that this defense is not going to be able to get off the field against a great quarterback like that.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. We had up until 2 o'clock. Coming up at noon, Field Yates joins us. 913-912-4810. Text says you guys are nitpicking. You're wasting all your time talking about the defense. Defense is the 7th scoring defense in the league. The offense is 14th. They got offensive issues. Again, if they don't start moving the ball up and down the field, that'll be the reason they lose, not because the defense couldn't get off the field. The defense stopped Buffalo plenty of times in the second half, and Mahomes and company couldn't do anything with it. Well, that's kind of contradictory. If you say the offense can't move the ball up and down the field and keep scoring, then that's an issue with the defense, you're saying. So you can't say the defense is perfectly fine and then say the offense has to keep moving the ball up and down the field and scoring. Either the defense is perfectly fine and the offense can do enough, or the offense is going to have to keep scoring because the defense is giving up points. Yes, the overall game, the defense showed to be fine for the most part. But what I'm talking about is the last 3 drives in the last 3 games have been issues for this team. Yes. You can't just simply ignore that. Could the offense score more points? Yes, every game. Every single game, the offense can score more points. But we can't talk about this team being the defense is not having off nights. And what makes this team different than other years is how good the defense is. And the offense hopefully will figure it out when they maybe get Hollywood back and Isaiah Pacheco and DeAndre Hopkins more integrated into the offense and Xavier Worthy coming along. Yeah, I mean, this offense can certainly improve and Patrick Mahomes need to play better. But the best thing they have going for them is this defense is maybe elite. And then say, well, yeah, giving up 30 points isn't the issue.
Well, I do think part of it is
part of it.
You might say the defense was gassed because they did their job coming out of the second half. 2 great stops. The offense does absolutely nothing. Put a lot there. And yes, we are nitpicking because we're talking about a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
We're not acting like it's the Panthers. We're going to nitpick when it's a 9-1 team. I get where you're coming from. I agree with some of what you said, but nitpicking's going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, they need help at left tackle. Right tackle, those are issues. Mahomes isn't comfortable in the pocket. That's an issue. Not putting pressure on the opposing quarterback with 4, that's an issue. Cornerback 2 is an issue. These are all issues. They're still one of, if not the best team in the AFC. ESPN will be our guest. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes as he was talking last night after the game was over. Let's play clip number 1 here as Patrick Mahomes was asked the difference that he saw maybe in Buffalo's defense this year and then getting into no longer being undefeated.
No, I mean, they're a good defensive football team. They've been like that my entire career, and Coach McDermott does a great job of getting the guys in the right spots and the guys make plays. So it's a good football team, and they got us today.
This is, I believe, you're undefeated in Orchard Park for today. How does that go in the mindset, just first loss of the season, just moving forward? How do you just motivate the guys to just
Yeah, I mean, you can use it as fuel. I mean, like I said, it's a good football team, so I mean, nothing to hang your head on. I'm losing to them, but we feel like we can play better. So we'll get back to work and try to use this as a spark so that we can be a better football team in the end. And the undefeated thing was cool, but that's not our ultimate goal. So we'll keep building towards that.
And now they get to their ultimate goal. You know, we talked a little bit about it in, could they go undefeated? The real conversation would take place after the Bills game if they won. Not really before the Bills game, except for if they get past the Bills, then, can we really start talking about it? I don't know that the undefeated part was weighing on the Chiefs because they were 9-0. I think you get to 13, 12, 13, I think it really you start to think about it more. When you're 9-0, you're just trying to stack wins.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get wins. I mean, Josh Allen said last night after the game, like, what's the significance of this win, beating the Chiefs? He said, because it's win number 9. He goes, the last time I checked, 9 wins probably ain't going to get us into the playoffs. So That's the significance of this win. It's win number 9. We got to go win some more games so that we can get our ultimate goal. Beating the Chiefs in the regular season isn't the goal. Winning the Super Bowl is the goal. So hanging the banner by beating the Chiefs, whatever, that's fine. They can do that. I just know the last couple of years losing to the Bills in the regular season has been a really good formula for this team. So they should just keep doing that over and over again. I'm not saying lose to the Raiders, or anything. I'm not saying that, but specifically the Bills. Losing to the Bills in the regular season, that has been a really good formula for them to go and win a Super Bowl the last couple of years.
I was saying last night that it almost lets the Bills lax a little bit more than having the edge of we still haven't beat this team. Going into the postseason rematch.
You beat them.
It's a good call, Dylan. I like that.
'em.
I will say the majority of their fans, I don't know, again, the majority of the ones I've seen have been very nice on Twitter. They've been like, hey, the Chiefs, great game, but we'll hopefully try and beat you in the playoffs since we've not done that so far. They've all been very, very kind. I'm like, wait a minute. What's happening now? You have awareness? Most other fan bases will be talking smack right now, and Bills fans are like, hey, great game, Kansas City. Hopefully we'll see you in the playoffs, and hopefully things go better for us this time around.
Twitter's not real life.
Like, why are Bills fans so nice all of a sudden?
It reminds me a lot, to be honest with you, of the rivalry that Brady and Mahomes had, where Mahomes was 2-1 against him in the regular season, and then 0-2 when it mattered in the postseason. And I think Patrick Mahomes would tell you, I don't care at all about those regular season wins. I wanted to beat him in the postseason, either dethrone him in one of his final years in New England, or of course beat him in the Super Bowl when they went head to head. Like, I think Josh Allen, the energy you got from him last night is okay. We've done this before.
Yeah.
We're what, 3-1, 4-1 against Mahomes.
We beat them in the regular season. We lose to them in the postseason.
And that will he could win every single regular season contest for the rest of these two careers. And if he never beats him in the postseason, it's a moot point. Like, wouldn't that be the wildest stat to see if Josh Allen's like 10-1 in his career in the regular season against Mahomes, but 0-7 or 0-8 in the postseason?
Yeah, I think Josh Allen became the first quarterback to beat Mahomes 4 times. Like
Sounds right.
So I mean, but he's 0-3 in the playoffs. I mean, that's the stat that matters to Josh Allen, and the stat that matters to Patrick Mahomes, and the stat that matters to this team. And it's part of my takeaway from this game in that every single team has deficiencies. The Chiefs have deficiencies. Are they fatal flaws? They could prove to be that if they pop up at the wrong time. Their deficiencies showed against the Bills, and maybe the Bills are a terrible matchup, that the deficiencies for the Chiefs will get exposed by the Buffalo Bills. I don't know. But they had deficiencies last year too. They were not a perfect team. And they still went and won the Super Bowl because they were able to, at the right time, make the plays when it mattered in the playoffs, whether it be on the road or at home or in a neutral site. They did the things when it had to be done. They didn't go out there and score a bunch of points. And they got 25 points getting to overtime. They scored 17 points against the Baltimore Ravens. Like, they weren't going out there and they weren't being an offensive juggernaut. They were playing a game that had crucial moments and crucial third downs that they either got stops and got off the field or continued drives and stayed on the field. Trent McDuffie knocking the ball down on the pass from Brock Purdy on third down could be the difference in winning or losing the Super Bowl. If that is completed, the 49ers run the clock out and kick the field goal and win the game. And it's 22-19 final. More than likely, unless there's a crazy block that could have happened. Who knows? But instead, he knocked the ball down on a blitz. They kick the field goal. The Chiefs go down and tie the game and win in overtime, ultimately. That play was made by the Chiefs getting off the field in that moment. Do they make that play the next time they face off against Buffalo? Is 4th down and 2, does that turn out to be a stop? Right? Do they get a stop on Josh Allen? Do they run a stunt to where Josh Allen says, oh, wait, here's an opening, and instead, as he's starting to take off, Turk is coming around and, wraps up Josh Allen? Who knows the next time they go up against each other? But we've seen this team in the postseason make plays from the bigger picture standpoint. There are flaws with the Bills. There's flaws with the Ravens. There are flaws with the Steelers. And they've got, they beat the Ravens over the weekend. Exactly what I thought would happen. Said that they would beat the Ravens. I still am not concerned about the Steelers in getting the number 1 seed. They have an incredibly difficult schedule the rest of the way. They still go to Philadelphia. They still go to Baltimore. They still have to face the Chiefs at home. They still go to Cincinnati when it will be more than likely a must-win game for the Bengals. Pittsburgh is at Cleveland this weekend. And then next week, they are in Cincinnati, which, again, if the Bengals win this week, they would be 5-7 and be playing essentially for their playoff lives at home against Pittsburgh. Cincinnati would. That's a desperate team going up against what should be a 10-2 team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see, what ends up happening the rest of the way. But I did not come away from that game yesterday concerned or panicking or thinking this team is toast, they've got no chance, and everybody should be fired. I give a little bit of grace with the post game that people are emotional.
Yes.
And they are venting.
It's the immediate reaction.
Yeah, and they're projecting, right? There's some grace with that of the fire everybody, this guy sucks, that guy sucks, whatever. And then you sleep and you wake up the next day and then, all right, well, what's really going on with this team? Okay. They connected, Mahomes and Worthy did a couple of times in this game. They missed a huge play. That could have been the difference in the game. Down 16-14, your defense got to stop. You get the ball back, and you could add a 70-yard touchdown to go up 21-16 and take complete control of that game. And you didn't at that point.
Where are we assigning blame on that play?
Both. 70-30, Xavier Worthy.
Okay. What about
or
you?
Or 80-20, Worthy.
Jack?
I'm going to go 65-35 Worthy.
Okay. Dylan?
I'll go 70-30 Worthy.
I think I'm probably like that 60-40. Where Worthy definitely needs to keep his feet in bounds. That's clearly been an issue. It's not college. It's not 1 foot. You got to get that in. But also, there's no reason for Mahomes in that situation to throw that ball that far to the boundary. Because if he throws that even up the field 2 more yards or just even 2 yards shorter, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, at best, Worthy catches that ball and immediately has to go out of bounds, right? Should have been a touchdown. So we can be critical of the guy who's making $500 million. We can be critical of the MVP, best quarterback on the planet.
For sure.
But if we're going to keep him to these standards, you got to hold him to these standards. He has to make a better throw in that situation.
I don't disagree. And let's hear, and I want to weigh in on that a little bit as well. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes. This is clip number 5 on the sideline throw to Xavier Worthy that we're talking about here in the second half.
I mean, it's probably just me just throwing it more inbounds to the guy that's wide open for a touchdown. So if I throw it inbounds, it's a walk-in touchdown, and I just have to be better there.
Yeah.
Quick, simple. There you go. Got to be better there. It's a walk-in touchdown. It's a run-in touchdown, but whatever. But here's the thing. Here's why I think 70-30, maybe even 80-20. Should the throw have been a couple of more yards up the field from 40 yards away when he threw it? Yes. Should it have been, at worst, the Chiefs' first down at the Bills' 30-yard line? 100%.
Sure.
There's an issue with awareness on the sideline when he was dragging his foot when the ball was still in the air and then didn't get his – he was dragging his foot, so clearly he knows he's close to the sideline. And then he catches it, and he doesn't go choppy feet to make sure he gets both feet in. There's just no awareness. At worst, it should have been a 40-yard pass, and they would have 1st and 10 at the Bills' 30-yard line. That's why I go 70-30, 80-20.
Sure.
Could it have been a 70-yard touchdown? Yes. Should it have been thrown 2 or 3 yards shorter of the boundary? Yes, absolutely. From 40 yards away with air yards to hit them there in stride. Yes, those should happen. Mahomes is paid $500 million to make those throws. Those should happen.
Yeah.
But in no world should that be an incomplete pass.
Correct. I'm with you, and that's I guess.
But there's blame for Mahomes.
Yeah, and that's what it is for me. It's the $500 million. It's you're seeing Derek Carr hit MVS. My goodness, MVS yet again. Just like
he's catching the ball.
You're looking around the NFL and you're seeing MVS and Derek Carr connecting week after week on bombs. Now they're not necessarily winning a whole bunch of football games, although they've won back to back. I mean, you're seeing Josh Allen drop a couple in the bucket to Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And you're just again. you're frustrated, at least I am, because I'm like, where is this from Mahomes? This year has been such a struggle. It feels like it looked like he was coming back to his normal self after the bye, and then this almost looks like a regression. I will say the play to Noah Gray in the end zone. Incredible throw.
Right.
That's vintage. That was a ridiculous play.
Yeah.
Great job by Noah Gray to, keep moving back there, stay in bounds, understanding everything. But I guess that's where my frustration almost comes from. It's like, how many times are we going to keep hearing, well, we got to get better on these deep balls before eventually? It's like, I don't want to hear you say we have to get better. I just want to actually see you do it. It's the show me state.
I think
they were in New York, actually.
I know, but it's they play in the show me. They go to Kansas. If they ever play in Kansas, I don't know what I'm going to say. It's a sunflower state.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. I think if there is a silver lining in it, though.
You got a sunflower, that football.
Sunflower that thing. Grow that bad boy.
Go ahead.
If there is a silver lining on it, wasn't one of the concerns coming out of college that Worthy might not be able to handle the physicality from a bigger, stronger cornerback? He couldn't get open down the field. He'd be a gadget guy. You could only get him involved on jet sweeps, screen plays, pop plays. In that game twice, he hung on to one in the first quarter where he got blasted.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what Jim Nantz said, but
So, 30-yard catch, too.
he had a 30-yard catch. And so,
What did Jim Nantz say?
yeah, I don't need to go into it. I'm not
We'll
going
hear
to
that
flip
Friday.
on this.
We'll listen to it Friday at
Yeah.
about 1:50 or so.
But that feels like something that is so correctable, where if you're getting open, you're using your speed. Catching the ball has not been an option. He had the catch in L.A. on the deep ball from Patrick Mahomes. And if you look at these little moments of just keeping your feet in, that is correctable. So if there's a silver lining and you want to be positive about Worthy, he got open yesterday. He was open many times and against good cornerbacks, in my opinion. It's now just a matter of the little details of keeping your feet in.
Yeah, I think Mahomes will adjust, and those footballs will be thrown more in bounds. I see what's interesting is that particular play doesn't bother me as much from Mahomes' standpoint. I've already stated he can throw that thing in bounds. 70-30, either 30%, 20%, whatever. Not going to die on the hill of the percentage of Mahomes.
I don't know. Gladiator 2 is seeing a lot of commercials. Maybe you should.
Right.
Yeah.
We all. I did enjoy Kelsey and Josh Allen in their gladiator gear talking about being the modern-day gladiators out there on the football field during that promo of the new movie. But we all agree there's an element of blame, and Mahomes does as well. I think there's a big majority of that on Xavier Worthy. My bigger issue, if we're calling it that, with Mahomes is the second play of the game, the interception.
Gosh, yes.
And it's not really, like, to me, it's not he throws it or he should have thrown it, should not have thrown it. He is getting his leg, grabbed as he's getting ready to throw it. It's just unfortunate as his hand's coming forward is when the guy twists. And so then the ball flutters. Noah Gray was wide open. Here's the problem with that play. People are focusing on that particular part of it. What they're not focusing on is the 3-step drop from Mahomes in rhythm, a lane opened wide open on the left side, and Travis Kelce standing at the first down marker, nobody within 5 yards, and Mahomes looking right at him and deciding, I'm not going to throw that. Let me now look at the second or third option. Now I'm going to step up.
So you're believing the conspiracy theories that there's a rift between them now?
No, I think that's where Mahomes is talking about early on, maybe more of a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Take it. Boom. First down. Let's go. You got 7-yard run by Xavier Worthy. Next play, Kelce right at the sticks. Guys are playing off because they're not trying to give up big chunk plays early on in the game. It's 2nd and 3. You're probably going to pick up the first down anyway.
Take the 4. Don't worry about the 12.
Let him catch it, come up and wrap up, get the tackle, new set of downs. Let's readjust here. Instead, and he was staring. It's not like it's like Mahomes is looking left and dude is wide open on the backside. He looked right at him. He was staring right at him and decided that's a bigger issue than, well, he shouldn't have thrown the ball while he got hit.
Sure.
Mahomes is going to make some crazy plays. Those are the things you live and die with. The overlooking the first read that's open and just taking 4 or 5 yards, when he does that, that's when Mahomes is locked in. That's when Mahomes is playing his best football. That's what he's doing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's where I think the sense of urgency that he's talking about comes through early in the game as, well, that's only 4 yards. It's 2nd and 3. let's see if I can get to the second or third read and see, oh, wait, now I'm getting pressured. Let me step up. Oh, Gray's wide open. Let me hit him right there. Because if it's complete pass, we'll convert 3rd and 3. We're good.
Sure.
I want a chunk play here, not just pick up the first down.
But if you don't trust your offensive line, that's an even bigger indication and a bigger reason to get that ball out to Kelsey for the first down then and there.
I think he starts the game trusting the offensive line.
Sure.
And as the game goes along, then it's like, well, this is another game where I'm getting pressured.
Yeah.
So early on, I'm stepping in the pocket. Because that first throw, he took his drop, sat there, looked around, then started, scrambling up the middle. It wasn't I've taken my time, looked, now I got to go. Because I'm feeling the pressure. I don't think I have a lot of time. Like, I think early on in the game, Mahomes has an element of trust to see how it plays out. But as that trust gets broken, as the offensive line continues to have infidelity, that trust continues to get broken by Pat. But he starts every game with like, okay, I'm ready to trust you again. Damn it! I told you not to go to the script club. What are you doing?
Ain't no sin go no script club.
I was just going to script club.
Ain't nowhere no Bible say I can't go no script club. I was just being rebellion.
I was just being rebellion.
I was just being rebellion.
It was a script club. 913-381-0810. Let's bring in Travis to the show. 913-381-0810. Travis, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
So, sorry for the voice. I've got a little bit of a cold this morning. But Sterling kind of stole my thunder a little bit. Because I know.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I've been kind of thinking the same thing. Like, what's wrong with? I think there's something wrong with him. Is he, whether he's hurt or, I mean, even the pass earlier in the game to D-Hop. I mean, it was an out pass. D-Hop was open, and D-Hop had to make a ridiculous one-handed catch just to get it because Pat overthrew him by 4 yards. And I just don't understand why is he so inaccurate all of a sudden. I mean, we're singing a different tune right now about Xavier Worthy. If Pat is 50% better on the deep throws to Xavier Worthy this season.
It's 3 games in a row that it'd be like, 50, 60-yard touchdowns.
I mean, everybody's thinking a little bit different if those deep shots are made. I mean, he's missed one to Justin Watson, who was wide open a couple games ago. Missed that. The missed touchdown to Kelsey last week. He's just not accurate right now. And I do think it's okay to offer some criticism that way because he is, by his own fault, he's created a standard and a legacy that is considered to be one of the best ever, and he's not even 30. So we can't hold him to that. And I don't think that it's 100% fair. I got some family members doing it. My initial reaction last night was blame the defense, but the defense has been nails. They've been bailing this offense out for 2 years. Yeah. And the offense needed to step up last night and make plays, and they didn't do it. I mean, they scored 20 points. This is what it's going to look like if they don't figure it out on offense. I mean, Matthew Lane put out a spreadsheet last night of Pat's throws.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Is that – so you guys answer this question for me if you can. Is that a Pat thing? Is that a play call thing? Is that – I mean, that is insane. I mean, that – you're not –
They have turned into a team.
It's nuts.
They've turned into a team, it seems like, that is no more intermediate passes. We'll take a couple of shots deep, but after that, it's going to be get the ball in the hands of guys and let them pick up yards after catch.
Yeah, I mean, and like last night, watching the Sunday night game, Justin Herbert looked insane last night with Ladd McConkey and some dudes.
I was watching Ladd McConkey.
So,
God, that guy is such an amazing route runner.
So the fact
already.
Told you.
What do you mean told you? Everybody said that.
I told everyone. I tweeted it out. I wanted
wow.
Ladd.
Hey, Travis, Sterling was the one that said Ladd McConkey's a good route runner. So now we found out who
I
was
like
the one
him so much. I put money on him for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Who's the guy?
If it wasn't for Bo Nix and Jane Daniels, I'd look good.
Who's the guy that sniffed out Ladd McConkey's best skill? It's Sterling. Go ahead, Travis.
Well, thanks for the call, guys. Thanks
Travis,
for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. 913-381-0810. But here's the thing, though. Would we be talking about, oh, man, if Ladd McConkey just running routes and beating man coverage and getting open, if the ball is thrown more to the inside against Tampa or Xavier Worthy has awareness of where he is and that's a touchdown? if the ball against Denver is thrown on the red line and not out of bounds.
If he can
Xavier
play
Worthy.
left tackle or cornerback too.
Exactly.
Well, they're
The
such
more important
right.
things.
they're
So
such different players
they-
too. They're not even
they
close to
are.
being similar.
They are, but if you're connecting on the throws that are there,
Yes.
then there's a different feeling, because also we didn't know that when the draft happened that Hollywood would be injured on the first play of the preseason and Rasheed Rice would be injured game number 4.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to necessarily compare the two.
I was fine with. I was totally fine with Ladd McConkey. If they
Yes.
got Ladd McConkey, I would have been totally fine.
You knew
with
my
Ladd
thoughts on
McConkey.
that, but
Yes.
my point is, I'm not even at this point. It's a
Right.
sunk cost. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to compare the two. They're two completely different players, and who
Yeah.
knows how the Chiefs would even have used Ladd McConkey in this offense. I think the Chargers game, what you really saw was two great tackles, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, giving Justin Herbert a lot of time, allowing lesser weapons to get open. I mean, Quentin Johnson was open. Will Dissly, who's been a blocking tight end the majority of his career in Seattle, all of a sudden looks like he's getting wide open at will. And part of it's because, what was that?
Disley, wide open at will. Disley.
There you go. Nice.
Sorry.
But
Go ahead.
for me, the
stop it.
offensive line of the Chargers was why you saw Herbert look so good. Like, I think that needs to be taken into account a little bit here, because if you trust Slater, you definitely trust Joe Alt. You saw the time. You saw Herbert being able to step into the ball and throw rockets to guys.
I see what you're saying, Sterling.
Yeah.
Tank and get a left tackle. Bench everybody, tank the rest of the season, go 9-8.
And draft the
And then trade
historical
up,
left tackle and
trade up
move
and
him
get
to
the best
right
left
tackle.
Get the best left tackle, and then boom, now start a dynasty again. That I hear you. I disagree completely and totally, because I think they can win a Super Bowl this year, Sterling. So I wouldn't tank.
I really wish
But it's a strategy. I get it.
I wish the caller, when he said it, Sterling kind of took my thunder. Would have been like, I was just going to talk about script clubs and be in rebellion.
I'm just talking about being rebellion. That's all.
Pac-Man Jones.
Yes, we'll take a timeout. Come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Coming up at noon, we've got Field Yates from ESPN, NFL Insider. I want to go through some things, and just to sort of illustrate the smaller things along the way, all the small things along the way.
That's
yeah. Right.
No,
yes.
paint us a picture, Picasso.
I'm not going to. So as the game progressed, and why, one of the many reasons why I'm not losing my bleep over yesterday's game, why the game was over, and it's like, okay, cool, all right, let's go about our day. Like, there have been, like, Christmas Day last year to the Raiders, like, the rest of the day was ruined for some, like, they ruined Christmas for me. Okay, they made up for it by winning the Super Bowl. That was a nice little Christmas present for everybody. But like, that loss for some reason unnecessarily and disproportionately bothered me last year.
Well, put the Chiefs in a precarious situation last year. The Chiefs went, as they said, from the 1 seed to, after this loss, to the 1 seed.
And last year that wasn't the case, where this one was like, oh, okay. Let's go decorate the tree, bud. Let's go to your room and decorate the tree. Let's go. And that was the rest of our night. It was
November
great.
17th. Wow.
We're a few days behind, a week behind where my wife would like to have decorated the tree.
Jack?
So.
Yep, tree's up.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 trees in our house.
Man, maybe I'm Scrooge.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees. So let me go through this real quick. Just some crucial plays along the way. And this is just to illustrate, whereas in the playoffs, if these things happen, you win the game. If they don't, you lose the game. So along the way, it's the friends we made. First drive, touchdown for the Bills. 3rd and 6, Amari Cooper 30-yard pass. Najee one-on-one, was there, got his head turned around a little bit late. Have questions as to why McDuffie was man-to-man on Mac Hollins and Najee Johnson was one-on-one with Cooper. But 3rd and 6, great play. 3rd and 8, Curtis Samuel picks up 15 yards. He catches the ball 5 yards short of the first down and turns around and looks. Shamari Connor is there to make the tackle 5 yards short of the first down and whiffs. Samuel picks up 12 more yards after that missed tackle. They score a touchdown. 3rd drive of the game, 3rd and 9, Shakir, 9-yard catch. They also called the FAU holding call, but 3rd and 9, they converted. They went down and scored a touchdown. This 3rd drive of the second half, after the Chiefs had got off the field on 3 and outs and the offense did not take advantage. But the 3rd drive of the second half for Buffalo, 3rd and 9, pass interference call on Shamari Connor, and Curtis Samuel just simply beat him. Connor tried to jam, didn't get the full jam, got the right shoulder a little bit, missed, and at that point he was off balance, and then he's in a trail position, and he's trying to catch up, and he was kind of toast. Later on in that drive, 1st and 10, Khalil Shakir, 22-yard catch. Connor goes to make the tackle 4 yards past the line of scrimmage and misses. 18 extra yards for Khalil Shakir. 2nd and 10, offensive pass interference not called. That sucks. It should have been offensive pass interference. It wasn't called. Should have been 2nd and 20 at the 22-yard line for the Bills instead of a touchdown for Curtis Samuel when Mac Hollins goes and takes out Najee Johnson.
Oh yeah, the kind of the pick play.
Should have been off the touchdown.
The legit pick play. It was a nice pick and roll.
Right. So that's a play that didn't go the Chiefs' way. The final touchdown drive, 2nd down and 10, 6.5 minutes to go. Allen had the 9-yard scramble and then a quick quarterback sneak. There was a hold on Chris Jones that was not called. We pointed that out in the first hour. Not blaming the refs, just talking about little plays here or there that can go your way, don't go your way. It happens over the course of the game. It's not why they lost the game, but if that's called, it's now 2nd and 20 with 6.5 minutes to go and Buffalo up 2. 3rd and 9 with 4.5 minutes to go. Khalil Shakir, 9-yard catch. Brian Cook was right there, hits him. He holds on. Great job. Chris Jones was almost there to make the sack. He brought Bolton. He brought Shamari Connor, and nobody was in the middle of the field. Cook was coming up to cover the middle of the field, but it was a great read by Josh Allen. Chris Jones destroys the right tackle, just gets by him quickly, and is right there to hit Josh Allen, but it's a quick throw. And then the 4th and 2 touchdown run by Josh Allen. That's a lot of plays along the way that were 28 points. Those were 4 different touchdown drives that they converted: a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 9, and a 4th and 2 for 28 points. All right. So does that happen the next time they play? Do they get off the field? Or are they not even facing 3rd and 9s, right? Are they just driving down the field and hitting Kincaid and Coleman and Cooper, and it's, all right, well, this, and handing it off to Cook, and it's like, all right, they're in a spin cycle right now. Who knows? But on offense, there's certainly some issues along the way, too. First drive interception, 2nd down and 3. I talked about the Kelsey, wide open. Should have just taken what was there. 4th drive punt, 1st down and 10. Worthy, incomplete pass, sideline. Could have been, 70-yard touchdown. At worst, should have been a 30-yard, 40-yard gain. First drive of the second half, punt, 3rd and 1. Kareem Hunt didn't get a first down. It's the first time all season we've seen that.
Yeah.
First time all season we've seen Kareem Hunt on that short-yarded situation not find a way to come through. Credit the Buffalo Bills. They made the play. If you get that first down, who knows what happens? Second drive punt, 2nd down and 14. DeAndre Hopkins almost makes an amazing catch.
Those 2 drives to start the second half offensively may have been the most frustrating for me to watch because the defense did their job.
Yes.
In that instance, the defense did their job. The momentum was turning. Felt like all you had to do was even a field goal or something in that situation.
100%.
And that's where my almost main I know it's just a minor thing. No one thinks really of those 2 drives to start the second half, but those ones stand out to me.
Well, and also if you have longer sustained drives to start the second half.
Yes.
If the 3rd and 1 Kareem Hunt gets the first down, or it's blocked better, right? That's sort of hand in hand because I don't think Kareem Hunt had much of a.
No.
He's been so good at finding the creases. There really wasn't one there. That was Buffalo just doing a great job. Credit them. Okay, the other team is paid money as well. But the point of the defense faced 19 more plays than the Buffalo Bills defense did. So you have an extended drive to start the second half. Maybe you put points on the board. Your defense gets off the field in the 3 and out. You have an extended drive. Now most of the third quarter is gone at that point. And even if you put 6 points on the board, you're up 20-16. You're still up a touchdown if you put 2 different field goals. Down 16-14. Instead, you went 3 and out, 3 and out. Gave the ball right back to Buffalo. All right, so now Buffalo's getting their 4th drive with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter still. I mean, they're on their third drive. They're on their 3rd drive
but they also
of the
ball
third quarter.
In the first half, right?
Yeah, so it's their 4th drive in the last 15 minutes or so, or less than that. I guess it would be 8 minutes or so. Those are things along the way that the defensive plays that weren't made. Hey, you know what? They've made lots of plays this year. Some of the offensive plays that weren't made, they're a little bit less because they had 19 fewer plays. But also converting 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 9. That's how you get more plays where the Chiefs were not converting some of those longer ones. Those are a lot of plays that didn't go the Chiefs' way. Now, if you're in Buffalo, they might have a list of 15 different things that say, well, the Bills won by 9 and A, B, C, D, all 19 of these kind of went the Chiefs' way. This thing could have been out of hand earlier the next time they play. If these things go the Bills' way, it's not even going to be close.
The Noah Gray touchdown probably is one that stands out.
Could be, something along the way like that. Who knows? There's some, Josh Allen rolls to his right and misses a wide open tight end down the field. Just underthrows him.
Yeah, to Morris.
Yeah, another 3rd down and 9. Josh Allen throws it short and behind Khalil Shakir. And it's incomplete. Okay, well, and the Chiefs defense got off the field. Well, there's a little bit of pressure there, so that's good. They didn't get a sack, but they pressured him to where he threw it inaccurately. A better throw, we're looking at things from the Chiefs standpoint, and that's why I look at it and go, my concern isn't really there because I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different plays on defense that were critical plays, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 9, 4th and 2, that the Bills converted. I don't expect them to do that next time they play.
Yeah.
If they do, then you tip your cap and say that team is good enough and is a Super Bowl winner or an AFC conference winner. And the Chiefs are in position. They've continued to put themselves in position. They found a way to win games throughout the postseason. It's like going to a Final Four, winning a national championship. You get there enough times, you're going to break through. Bill Self, get to the Elite Eight enough times, you're going to go to a Final Four. Get to the Final Four enough times, you're going to win a national championship. All right, you're going to win a couple national championships. You keep getting to the Final Four. All right, you keep putting yourself in position in AFC championship games, and you are evenly matched teams. You're going to win. Bengals went 1-1 against the Chiefs in the AFC championship game, coming down to a field goal. They won one, they lost one. Chiefs won one, they lost one. They got there twice, they went to the Super Bowl. Chiefs got there twice against the Bengals, they went to the Super Bowl. Chiefs ended up winning. And they're 3-1 in Super Bowls. I don't know if all these plays change, but this was not some domination where you go, oh, good God. They just went up against a clearly superior team, and they didn't get it done. And they got outclassed, outmatched, overwhelmed, and they've got no chance if they play them again. They went up against a team that's like, okay, their flaws came through. All right. Next time they play, do you hide your flaws? We'll find out. Andy Reid's pretty damn good at adjusting, and maybe they didn't show him much. Maybe next time, McDuffie's one-on-one with Amari Cooper, and they spy Josh Allen. Maybe next time they're running it more with Kareem Hunt. They probably should have done that, because he was successful on early downs, picking up 4 and 5 and 4 and 5 and 6. 17 yards was on a first down run. It's that they were successful early on. They just weren't doing it enough. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. I think it was Chase Daniel that tweeted this out yesterday that said, who would you rather be right now, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, or Kansas City? And there were a lot of people replying, Buffalo and Pittsburgh, Chiefs are frauds, things like that, which is expected. His point was essentially, Pittsburgh is 9-2, Buffalo's 9-2, Chiefs are 9-1. Who would you rather be moving forward? I think Pittsburgh is the third choice.
Their schedule's the hardest,
exactly.
I believe. Of
yeah,
the
by a couple of games, like the rest of the way, the Chiefs' combined record of the teams they play is 34-37. The Pittsburgh Steelers is 36-37, and Buffalo is 28-35.
Well, the one thing I will say with the Steelers is part of that's because they have to play the Bengals twice,
and they play Cleveland twice and 2-8.
And we know the Bengals are they're better than the record indicates.
Yeah, they go to Cincinnati, they go to Philadelphia, they go to Baltimore, they play the Chiefs at home. The Steelers do. Buffalo, though, they've got San Francisco at home, and then they are at the Rams and at the Lions the next couple of weeks. Those are the next 3 games for them.
Tough 3 games stretch.
If they win those, the Chiefs better go undefeated the rest of the way. Yeah. Because that's while they are playing those games, while Buffalo is playing San Francisco, LA, and Detroit, the Chiefs will be playing at home to the Raiders, at home to the Chargers, and at Cleveland. They will be coinciding there. If they get an extra game on the Bills and they've got a 1-game cushion there, you've got Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver. And you could lose one of those games and still be the number 1 seed. Buffalo's next 3 games after the bye week could go a long way to deciding what the number 1 seed is. Chiefs control their own destiny, though. Take care of business, and you're the 1 seed.
He'll help you fantasy focus while he scoops the news. He's on TV more often than he's in bed. He'll break down the NFL without a single hair ever out of place. It's Field Yates of ESPN. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in the next segment. He'll be looking forward to the challenge of facing off against the Carolina Panthers. Then we will talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. A little Learn Funniest Best with Mick. The different bets that were going on with some high school football action on Friday night. Sterling lost his bet to Mick Schaefer with Blue Valley North losing, and Mick Schaefer lost his bet to Dylan with Aquinas knocking off Mill Valley, going for 2 with under a minute to play and winning 23-22. The Stones in a playoff game for a coach to say, now I know that the penalty put it half the distance and so you're closer, but still the Stones of a high school coach against Mill Valley kick the extra point tie game or go for 2 and you win. You don't get it, you lose. And Aquinas gets the win over Mick Schaefer's. They ate the W. They ate the W. And I feel bad for Mick Schaefer because 7 years of his boys at Mill Valley watching high school football and winning state championships, Friday night was the last night for him. So to end in heartbreaking fashion was like that. Way to go, Dylan. Way to go, Dylan. You're Aquinas.
Yeah, I feel
nice
great
job.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Way to go. If he comes in and slaps you, I don't blame him.
Yeah, that's why I did keep the drink order very simple. I did say on Friday that it would be like a entourage chemist situation with I can't remember the guy's name that Ari was showing up to his house, but no, I got a pretty simple order from Nick because I did realize his son was on the team,
his boys are finally done there at Mill Valley. Field Yates from ESPN, our NFL insider, joins us. Field, let's get into the high school football over the weekend here in the Kansas City area. Your thoughts on Lee Summit North taking care of Lee Summit? Big rivalry game. I was there. The alma mater moves on. Big game for them. They head on and probably winning state this year. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the only game that matters from the weekend, right? That's the only one that is of any consequence.
No,
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like going for 2, by the way, there in those circumstances that you just described. I don't have a major issue with it. I don't know a whole lot about the offensive personnel involved, but I do like the idea of playing to win. Doesn't always work out, but if it did, you're a hero forever, right?
We got 1 yard to win the game and knock off a team that's won 5 state championships in the last 7 years. So let's do it. I mean, you know what? And the Bills had 4th and 2 to essentially call game against the Chiefs and say, if we can run out the clock here and win by a couple of points, or we can score a touchdown and go up by 9. And even if we get held to a field goal, it would be minimal time left for them being down by 5. Let's go on 4th and 2. I credit the Bills in that win. Sean McDermott, a great call, Stonesy call, and I'm with him when he said, he doesn't want to be results-oriented. If they didn't get it, he still would be comfortable and sleep perfectly fine at night with that decision. What's your reaction and I guess overall takeaway from the Bills getting the win and the Chiefs no longer undefeated?
Yeah, so let's start here. I just think that being results-oriented in life is going to be a tough road for anybody to hoe, right? You always want to be process-oriented because the reality is you spend all this time going through your process that oftentimes it does lead to the results that you want. So I agreed with the call at the time for Sean McDermott, in large part because his team simply could not afford, meaning the Bills, another heartbreaking defeat at the hands of the Chiefs. I get it. It's the regular season. I get it. They're probably still going to comfortably win the AFC East, which might eventually lead them to playing the Chiefs once again in the postseason. But they have been the boogeyman the Chiefs have been to the Buffalo Bills. So to me, it felt like the right call at the right time as far as the Chiefs are concerned. I would say this. I felt like a loss for the Chiefs meant less than a win for the Bills. And it's as much psychological as anything else, right? The sky is not falling this morning in Kansas City. There's still a couple of games up in the AFC West. Now, the Chargers are playing good football, but I still passionately believe the Chiefs will win that division and do so comfortably. Meanwhile, if you're Buffalo and you had lost that game this morning, despite the fact that they would still be, 3 games up in the win column in the AFC East and still going to cruise for that division title, you might be saying if we can't get the Chiefs last year at home in the playoffs, and then we can't get them in the regular season at home with no Rashee Rice and no Hollywood Brown or no Isaiah Pacheco and other guys missing. How can we ever beat this team? So a hard-fought game, two of the very best teams in the NFL yesterday. I don't get to choose who played each other in the postseason, but if we could find a way for those two teams to face off once again, I would certainly be very, very excited about yet another playoff matchup between two AFC powerhouses.
Yeah, I like the way you phrase that. The loss for the Chiefs, less impactful than a win for the Bills. Because, I mean, if the Bills lose that game, the 1 seed is decided at that point. I mean, the Chiefs.
It's over.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, the Steelers might have something to say about that, but it's darn close.
Yeah,
right?
and the Steelers schedule the rest of the way. I mean, they still go to Cincinnati, they go to Philadelphia, they go to Baltimore. So they've got some. They play the Chiefs at home, so they could certainly have a tiebreaker there. But the Chiefs would still be 2 losses ahead of them, and with that schedule remaining for the Steelers, you would think they would drop a game along the way. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Is there a bigger concern overall with the Chiefs in that loss? Is there a fatal flaw that was exposed by the Buffalo Bills, or is this one of those to where we've talked about it, Field, that that something is going to change with the Chiefs moving forward? Either they start winning by a wider margin, or they lose one of these close games.
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. I would say this, this just in, the Chiefs are still having protection issues, right? That's a tale as old as the beginning of the regular season, right? Patrick was pressured on an immense percentage of his dropbacks yesterday. I think maybe the highest percentage of any game this season for Patrick Mahomes in terms of pressure rate. The Bills do a good job of not just mixing up their defensive calls, but getting pressure too with just 4 rushers. They've got a number of bodies that are all pretty capable rushers there on their front 7. So, I don't think the flaw is fatal for Kansas City. We knew the margin for error for them was going to be pretty slim because they have been winning all of these close games all season. But again, I just don't. I'm sort of unfazed. I'm nonplussed by yesterday's result. I feel like this is a good team. I don't know if this is a perfect analogy, but I look at the head-to-head records sometimes of Djokovic and Federer, and you're like, wow, I don't know this as a specific number, but it's like, wow, Federer's lost 13 times to Djokovic in his career. And it's like, number one versus number one. Like, somebody does have to lose. You can tie in the NFL, but it's extremely rare. So really my feelings don't change too much on the Chiefs. This was more, I believe, consequential and important to the psychology of the Buffalo Bills than it was to the bottom line takeaway of this Chiefs team.
I don't know that this is trying to, put lipstick on a pig or anything like that, but is there a psychological advantage for the Chiefs to move on and not have to worry about undefeated and just simply worry about one seed and win the Super Bowl and not, can we go undefeated too?
100%, because at some point soon, and they're already obviously more than halfway there to undefeated season, but at some point soon it becomes the only thing. And again, I know that it would be cool. Patrick said it after the game yesterday. Yeah, undefeated would be cool, but we have bigger goals. That's like the exact stance that you should have, right? Like, if it happens, you're cool with it, right? But you're more than cool with it. Obviously, you'd be elated by it, but because it's so rare. But it's a big burden you're carrying every single week, and so I think that now we can put that storyline behind us, and the focus can become keeping the inside track on that number 1 seed, which they still have. You mentioned that Steelers schedule, the head-to-head win over the Ravens. They've had head-to-head wins over other AFC foes that could be in the playoff mix, even though it's pretty much at this point, I would say, Pittsburgh and Buffalo kind of knocking on that number 1 seed door. So they still have their eyes on the prize there. And, sometimes I know this is hard to probably accept or agree with the day after a defeat, but in some ways, a loss can help you. It can help you identify some areas that maybe weren't as concerning previously, or just kind of kick up your motivation an extra notch.
It's the Panthers this weekend, so the Chiefs should go and get a win. They are 11.5-point favorites. They're maybe because it's the Chiefs and a championship pedigree, it's not there. But is there a concern of, okay, you lost the game to the Bills, you're no longer undefeated, and now it's sort of like, you got the Panthers this weekend and they're struggling, that you kind of take it a little bit easy, and the other team's on scholarship, and this thing could be a little more worrisome than probably should be, or the fact that it's the Chiefs, that you sort of trust that this is a team, veterans, culture is there, that they go and take care of business against the Panthers and they don't let one loss get them twice.
Yeah, I would say this is I don't. I think as far as the bottom line is concerned, like winning or losing, not at all bothered by what's likely to happen. They're going to take care of business in terms of getting the win. I just might, they would never say this publicly, but the challenge might be if you're the coaches to your players, hey, we're better than these guys. Let's prove it. Like, let's play like a team that's 11.5-point favorites over this Panthers team. I know that, we've won a lot of games this year. But what's our best start-to-finish performance in all three phases, right? Like, how about having a game where how about like Carson Wentz gets in the game, fourth quarter with 10 mints to go? Can we get there one time?
Exactly.
Something like that where it just feels like this comprehensive, start to finish, take care of business, look like, the most dominant team in the NFL. And Carolina, has played scrappier of late. They do have a winning streak going on right now, 2 games in a row prior to their bye. So I don't know that a rollover game is necessarily the expectation against Carolina, but I think if I'm Kansas City, I am internally pursuing the best, most complete game of the season because the opportunity is probably as good as it gets.
Yeah, win 41-14 and Chuba Hubbard have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, that is a perfect game in my estimation.
I have
saying.
No idea what you could possibly be referring to, but I completely and wholeheartedly agree with that. Yes.
Just saying, most points in the league and 4 losses, and all 4 of those losses are the teams that are also right there with the record that I do. So this is a rough,
100%.
those terrible teams to lose to, right? It's like, oh, so all these tiebreakers are killing me with most points. Oh, well, what are you going to do? People care about my fantasy team. They do, Field. I don't care what they say by collectively saying
they do.
I don't care.
They better. They better.
Field Yates is our guest from ESPN. If you're guessing right now, what would the record be of the number 1 seed in the AFC? Is it 14-3? Is it 15-2?
15-2. Yeah, I think it's 15-2.
15-2. Wow.
I think the Chiefs maybe just lose one the rest of the way. Notable challenges obviously include the Steelers. We talked about that. I do think that this Chargers rematch is going to be, it's going to be a competitive game, obviously, with the way that LA is playing right now. There are some. It's not just cakewalk city every single rest of the way, and there's always the potential for something to be wrapped up by week 18, and you're playing all the backups. So maybe 14-3 probably is the safer bet, but 15-2 certainly feels within reach. If you're the Chiefs, you just don't want to let one loss yesterday sort of snowball that the next more competitive game you play, you lose another one. And you're saying, all right, hey, maybe we got the Panthers in between week 11 and whenever their next competitive opponent game is, but we got to take care of business against the teams that might more closely resemble what we will see in our potential 3 or 4 game march to yet another Super Bowl trophy come February.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN NFL Insider. I want to look at some things around the league real quick and closer to the Chiefs as well to start with. But the AFC West, you've got the Chargers and the Broncos. When in games they didn't play the Chiefs, they are a combined 13-6. Has the AFC West turned a corner from being the Chiefs just sort of dominating and going 5-1 or 6-0 and at worst 4-2 every year? And not saying they won't do that this year, but a competitive run with the Chargers having a pretty darn good coach in Harbaugh and showcasing what Herbert can do. And the Denver Broncos, I mean, Bo Nix looked freaking legit at times this year. And Sean Payton is, a championship-winning coach. We'll see what goes on with the Raiders. But is the AFC West turning a corner to where it's not just going to be the Chiefs dominating every year and, hey, there's 6 wins for you to start off the season?
Yeah, it feels like we may have finally gotten to a point where there's going to be stiffer competition for Kansas City. And I believe this, I really do, is that, and I know because there might be some people that are sick of the Chiefs winning that will say, they just played, dog-do divisional foes for all those years.
Right.
I really believe this, and I guess there's no way to necessarily substantiate it or deny it. It's like I think part of the reason why the AFC West has been bad over the past few years is the Chiefs just running train through this entire division, right? I mean, like the way that they have completely overwhelmed opposing division opponents, I think has like compromised roster construction. Like teams are making hasty decisions, like trading all their draft picks for Devontae Adams to try to get that quick bite at the apple and all of a sudden compete with the Chiefs because you beat them once, right? Things of that nature, the Russell Wilson extension and things like that can make a material impact on your division when, like, the better approach to actually catch up, or not catch up yet, but to at least make things more competitive is, identify a more sustainable model. And if I told you, like, on paper, the way to beat the Chiefs was an offense that wants to, or at least had for the first half of the season, like run the football a lot, right? And like that would not be, which I'm referencing the Chargers here, right? But like they just like this offseason, they found a coach and a GM that want to play football a certain way. So it's going to be more competitive for sure. We have not closed the gap entirely yet. It's still the Chiefs division here, but this feels like going forward, it's not going to be every game is 11-point favorites against divisional foes. So pretty impressive last night from the Chargers. That feels like a game that prior versions of the Chargers find a way to lose. And then you're right on the Broncos. I mean, Bo Nix, the numbers are what they are. The guy's playing darn good football right now, and they just have found a masterful plan in terms of how they want to tap into what Bo does really well and put some good pieces around him. An excellent offensive line there in Denver has really helped catalyze this impressive start for Bo Nix.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN. What do you make of the Steelers? Because I think there's a couple of different ways of looking at this. There's one to where it's like I'm still skeptical of the Steelers and their schedule the rest of the way, and the Chiefs certainly play the Steelers. The flip side is that defense is so freaking good that they're going to have a chance to win every game that they go out and play because that defense is just dominant. And Russell Wilson's given them some big playability from time to time. And if they get the run game with Najee and Jalen Warren, a little more consistent. So is this Steelers team a true threat in the AFC that if they're playing in New Orleans, that it's not like, oh, my gosh, what happened in the AFC?
Yeah, it's taken me a while to get to this point, but the answer is yes. I just have been dubious of the things that you pointed out this year, and I think the big reason why is that we don't have offenses that dominate anymore like we used to have offenses that dominate, right? Specifically in the AFC. The Steelers faced the best AFC offense yesterday, that being the Ravens, but they had the answers for them. I mean, that was yet another disappointing performance from that Ravens offense against the Steelers when it matters the most. But it just does not feel like, to me, there's an offense that has such an effortlessness about it in the way that we have seen in prior years. I mean, obviously, most prominently in Kansas City. Whatever the numbers are in terms of points per game, I know that the Lions are breaking a lot of scales right now. But in the AFC, I don't think this year's AFC stacks up to prior years in terms of the top of the totem pole offensive firepower. It felt to me like the Chiefs were at a higher level offensively, obviously. The Bills were at a higher level offensively. Maybe the Ravens have been, around this level offensively, but it just doesn't feel like dominant offensive football is quite as lopsided as it has been in prior years. So the Steelers might be able to say to themselves, hey, get to the offense. Get us to 24, and we're winning this game because there's no way we're allowing more than 21, 22, 23 points.
Yeah, the Chiefs so far this year, they've got 240 points that they have scored, which is fourth in the AFC. The Bengals have scored more, the Ravens have scored more, and the Buffalo Bills have scored more than the Chiefs at 240. And it doesn't feel like the Chiefs' offense has been all that good.
Right. Yeah, it does not. Yeah.
So to your point, that it's not 240 points. I mean, they're 80 points behind Buffalo, so they're almost 100 points behind Baltimore. So it's like so even with that being the case, it's like but they're still the fourth highest points, and they've played one fewer game than some of these other teams as well. And we're looking at this Chiefs offense as struggling, but I think that sort of puts into perspective of what the offenses in the AFC are doing and why the Steelers' defense being so dominant will give them a chance, because you can win a 16-14 game against the Baltimore Ravens over the weekend. That
absolutely you
amazing
can.
offense.
Yeah. The kicker and defense adage is being taken to a new level right now in Pittsburgh. Kicker and defense.
Kicker last night, kicker couldn't come through for the Bengals, and so they are certainly in some dire straits right now. Field Yates from ESPN is our guest. Field, last one for you. You got to choose which you would rather be the rest of the way, including playoffs and Super Bowl, whatever. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, or Kansas City?
Kansas City. Yeah, and this is not trying to just cater to the audience here, but I think that one reality that, despite what happened yesterday, I still really strongly believe in is that when the moments are at their tightest, the Chiefs have the best capability to play the necessary type of football. They're still excellent situationally. I think they know how to win games more than anybody else. Yes, they have a different path to do so this year than prior years, but they showed last year, literally 10 months ago, that they can totally morph offensively into a much closer facsimile to what they were in 2022, 2021, et cetera. So it's still Kansas City, not just factoring in the team and the circumstances, but also, to me, the likelihood of them playing at home, if not in every game of the playoffs, every game but one, which obviously if they have home field advantage, they also have the bye, 2 games just to make it to the Super Bowl. So very much in the realm of possibilities.
Field Yates from ESPN NFL Insider. Field, you're the man as always. Appreciate the time, sir. Enjoy the football. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good, my friend. Talk to you then.
Absolutely. There's Field Yates from ESPN NFL Insider. And I'm in agreement with, and again, he's saying his answer and then also prefacing it by saying it's not just that I'm on in Kansas City. It's looking at the totality, the entire picture. Holistically, would you rather be Buffalo, Pittsburgh, or Kansas City? And, well, you'd rather be Kansas City. There's a championship pedigree to it. They still have the 1-game lead on the Bills. They have a 2-game lead on Pittsburgh right now, or a 1-game lead on Pittsburgh. They still play later on this year, so maybe that will be extinguished when they go and face off in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. Maybe that'll happen. But you've also got a team that's won back-to-back Super Bowls that has that sort of mindset of when the game counts, and all of them count, but when the game is at its biggest and most important and crucial moments, and a win or go home, they have found a way to make plays. The only 2 times that they did not find a way to make plays in the AFC, they lost in overtime. I mean, they lost to the Patriots in overtime, didn't get the ball, and they lost to the Bengals in overtime, and that was a disastrous second half.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a head scratcher as to what happened with that. I still think the Monstars came down and took the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes' ability in that particular game.
Turned him into Brody Croyle out of nowhere.
It was weird, but those are the 2 times they have not come through in this. And obviously the Super Bowl, as I said, through the AFC. Super Bowl, that was a bridge too far with all of the injuries there, as it turned out, as we found out. I think a lot of people, myself included, sort of dismissing how bad that offensive line was going to look against the Buccaneers front. But still, this team, the rest of the way, I'd rather be Kansas City. If you're in Buffalo, you might look at it and go, oh, I'd rather be us. Our combined schedule the rest of the way is 28-35, the teams we're playing. The Chiefs' are combined schedule the rest of the way is almost 500, the teams are playing. So, yeah, I'd rather be us right now. And if you're Pittsburgh, you're like, yeah, we're 1 game behind Buffalo, or we've got the same amount of losses as Buffalo, and we get Kansas City at home. So we can, to a degree, like they almost control their own destiny.
If you took the schedules remaining, you'd for sure take Pittsburgh because of that. But just again with what
schedules remaining, I wouldn't take Pittsburgh because
that's my point. With if all things were equal, they all play the exact same because they would have the best chance because they would play Kansas City, while the Bills have beaten Kansas City already, but are still 1 game back. But yeah, if you're the Chiefs, you're still in the best position. You've been there, you've done that. While the three-peat looms large, I still think there's less pressure on you. There's never really been no one has any concerns with Mike Tomlin, winning games or going 500. It's, well, can you start winning in the postseason? Can you start winning more games now that Big Ben has either you don't have the corpse of him or that he's been retired, the Weekend at Bernie's version of Big Ben? You got to start eventually winning. Going 500 or better than 500 perpetually, that's nice. Do something more. There's pressure on Mike Tomlin in that instance. There's a lot of pressure on Buffalo.
Yeah.
I know this year was somewhat of supposed to be a down year for them, so that almost alleviated some of that pressure. But you got to start winning or at least make it to a Super Bowl. At some point, this great regular season has to come to a head. At some point, either is Sean McDermott the guy, or do you need to completely retool this thing and start from scratch? So I think there's a lot more pressure on those 2 teams than there is in Kansas City, who, again, they've been there, they've done that. Three-peat looms large, but when you won back-to-back Super Bowls, you get some grace.
Yeah, and Buffalo, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them. And we've seen what a great team with a great quarterback can do in a quote-unquote rebuilding year.
Yeah.
Chiefs went and won a Super Bowl after they traded away Tyreek Hill. And the Buffalo Bills right now are right there 1 game behind the Chiefs. Field Yates, his prediction on the record for the number 1 seed in the AFC, 15-2.
Wow.
He thinks the number 1 seed will be 15-2. Whether that be the Chiefs and Buffalo loses one more, or it's Buffalo and they win out and go 6-0, and the Chiefs lose one more and they go 6-1 the rest of the way, and they end up 15-2. Can you imagine a world? I don't want to, but can you imagine a world where a team goes 15-2 and they are the 2 seed?
That's not a world I want to live in.
I don't want to either, because that would be the Chiefs, if that were the case. 913-912-48. Well, unless it's because also if Buffalo loses a couple more and then they lose to Pittsburgh could be 15-2 and the Chiefs could be 15-2.
It's a world I don't want to
wanna
live in.
it.
Okay,
I'm not going to live in that world. Okay, all right.
And you can't make me.
Okay. Chiefs are going to be 16-1. All right. Okay. And Buffalo's going to be 15-2.
What is that voice you're doing now? I don't.
That's me in a world that I don't want to live in. All right, I don't want to live in this world.
Okay.
That's a world I don't want to live in.
Yeah, that checks out.
It's my not wanting to live in this world voice. What voice would you have if it's the world you don't want to live in? Look what I can do. Heading up until 2 o'clock, we'll hear from Andy Reid in his press conference today. We will hear from Mick Schaefer in his press conference today, which we call the 1 o'clock hour. Mick just in here holding court. You know what I mean? Drinking some coffee. Holding court, drinking coffee, right?
I wonder whose coffee that's going to be from.
I don't have to wonder. It's from you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Bluebell, I didn't even check. Did I? He could be lying to me for all I know.
He's not. It was like 41-6.
It was 41-6?
Yeah. It was
No.
It was something like that. I hate to.
Oh, 45-6.
Sorry about that. Yeah, 41-6. I guess I was wrong.
45-6. Yeah, well, they
said
scored
something.
6 in the fourth quarter, so they really got after it.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Lee Summit North took care of business on Lee Summit.
Yeah, but
Could have been a much more dominant win than it was.
Well, if you're going to lose,
win by 12.
lose spectacularly.
Yeah, that's
come
true.
on.
Lee Summit North wins 27-15, but if we're being honest here, Lee Summit's points came on a flea flicker touchdown and a pick six. That's how they scored their points. And a safety. So, whatever.
High school's over, Jason.
Never graduate, man. You graduated 10 years ago. You still come to all these high school parties. Wouldn't miss it, man. Wouldn't miss it. Hell, they're having the time of their lives right now. I wish I could be out there. Old Kilmer's giving your boy the business.
Val Kilmer?
No.
Oh, okay.
But 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810 text line to join us to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. I want to talk about a couple of things that came out in the game. What do you make of DeAndre Hopkins' first game with the Chiefs was the Raiders? And he played 23 snaps, and it was 32% of the snaps. And we're like, oh, wow, that's a pretty decent amount.
Yeah.
Next game, he played 60%. Last week against Denver, he played 65%. 47% yesterday against the Bills. They trade for Joshua Uche. He comes over. First game against Tampa with the Chiefs. He plays 9 snaps, which is 16%. Last week against Denver, he plays 11 snaps, 19%. Against Buffalo, he plays 5 snaps, 7%. It's head scratching, and that should be going the other way, because there were a lot of obvious passing situations for the Buffalo Bills in this game, unless this is a game where Steve Spagnuolo didn't want a lighter, faster pass rusher on the field because he wanted more stronger defensive ends to contain and have pass rush lane integrity, where Uche might just be getting up the field and opening up an escape route for Josh Allen. Maybe it's as simple as that, but 16%, 19% dropping to 7%. And also played his fewest snaps on special teams, too.
I think it's perplexing for both players. Uche, on a situation where the defensive line of Kansas City has struggled to get pressure with 4, that is supposed to be his calling card. You think that would make sense to actually see him play a lot more snaps, not been the case. And then DeAndre Hopkins, I don't understand.
Yeah.
You need help at wide receiver. You really do. And everything DeAndre's shown you, it's been great. I mean, seriously, DeAndre's been a really nice pickup. I don't know why, unless it's I don't want to say health, but like a conditioning situation. If it's a case where they're playing, but even against man coverage, you think DeAndre would be thriving in that situation, that scenario. Yeah, I can't wrap my head around not seeing DeAndre on the field more. I know Xavier was great. I get that. But Travis was giving you nothing this game.
Yeah.
Noah Gray had a nice drive, but it's not like you were rocking a ton of 12, 13 person.
Xavier Worthy had a great drive.
Yeah, I just don't get why you wouldn't use DeAndre Hopkins more. I really don't.
And since that game against Tampa, when he had his huge night, 9 targets, 8 catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and it was, all right.
Yeah.
There's the acquisition of DeAndre Hopkins. This is what he can do for the offense, and this is going to be a game changer for this team. They scored 30 points that night in overtime, so 24 points in regulation. They scored 16 against Denver and 21 against Buffalo. So 9 targets, 8 receptions, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In the 2 games since then, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 85 yards, 0 touchdowns. So he's combined the number of targets these last 2 weeks that he did against Tampa, 1 fewer reception these past 2 weeks than he had against Tampa, 1 less yard these last 2 weeks than he had against Tampa, 2 fewer touchdowns. And
better cornerbacks for those two teams. I mean, Pat Surtain,
Denver's pretty legit,
and him are going at it, and
right.
Buffalo has a couple of pretty solid corners in their own right.
Yeah, so that is a great point to bring up with DeAndre Hopkins. And maybe because of all the man-to-man defense they were running, which you would think DeAndre Hopkins is out there to beat man-to-man and route running and things like that. Maybe because of that they had less DeAndre Hopkins on the field. I don't know. Maybe they looked at it as an opportunity to get an aging player to, maybe you don't need to be out there for 50, 60 plays in the game. 26 plays. I have no idea what part of the game plan that was, but it's still surprising that DeAndre Hopkins was, and also like Juju Smith-Schuster started. So maybe it was the Juju returns, and now you're splitting reps between Juju and DeAndre Hopkins.
I guess.
And that's why is that, Juju then takes those snaps away from DeAndre, and maybe you're trying to keep them both healthy the rest of the way,
Semi-galaxy brain here. You expect to play Buffalo in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they?
I would guess, yeah.
Are they literally holding back DeAndre so they don't show what he's going to do against Buffalo? That just to me seems so silly for a game that had so much implication right now in the regular season. I get the playoffs matter way more. That's what truthfully matters. But you beat Buffalo in this particular game, you pretty much have the 1 seed locked up. Now you're going to have a little bit of stressful as you land the plane, right? So I just that's me trying to find a reason why you wouldn't see DeAndre Hopkins out there more.
Maybe not holding back. I think more so they set up plays in the future for teams they feel like they're going to face again, where maybe he breaks off the route a different way the next time they face him, and maybe they're willing to say, well, if this route tree works, that's great. If not, we have something to back up if we play this team again.
The game plan against this team was clearly 2 tight ends. Was Kelsey and Gray on the field predominantly in the game, because Noah Gray played 76% of the snaps and Travis Kelsey played 80%. Like Kelsey played 44 of the 55 snaps and Noah Gray played 42 of the 55 snaps. Those were the 2 highest players in terms of snaps outside of the offensive line and Patrick Mahomes. Then it went Kareem Hunt playing 38 snaps. Then Xavier Worthy with 32, Justin Watson with 31, DeAndre Hopkins 26, Juju Smith-Schuster 20, Mecole Hardman 13. This was a game where clearly the strategy was we're going into this game and we're going 2 tight ends. Now, going into this game and going 2 tight ends makes it, I think, even a little bit more perplexing that in a game where it felt like Kareem Hunt was doing pretty well, not on a okay, he gained 20 yards on one play and 2 yards on another, and look, he's averaging 11 yards per carry. Like, no, he was picking up 4, 5, 4, 6, and for him to have, 7 carries in the first half total was a little surprising, especially with the success that they were having with running the ball on early downs and then abandoning that. So you're going 2 tight ends, but it seemed like we're going 2 tight ends and then we're playing off their defensive personnel for 2 tight ends, and we're passing against that instead of running against that, which can work.
They rank middle of the pack in the NFL rushing defense and passing, but obviously everyone's I think when you watch a Bills game, you see like 8-yard rushes all the time, whether they're playing us or anyone.
Well, I mean, just going through it, like, okay, first quarter after the Chiefs threw the interception, next possession, Patrick Mahomes incomplete to Mecole Hardman. That was the one where he was in the backfield and he came on that little swing pass and Epinesa tipped it. Just barely, just a little bit more.
Tipped it,
would have been a nice gainer. 2nd down and 10, Kareem Hunt picked up 5 yards. Then Mahomes was sacked. So you had Kareem Hunt pick up 5 yards on 2nd and 10, and then 3rd and 5, Mahomes gets sacked. The next possession, Kareem Hunt 4 yards. Patrick Mahomes then throws the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. That was a one-handed catch. 9 yards. Or 5 yards, 1 yard short of the first down. Caliendo gets his it was Kareem Hunt for 4 yards. Caliendo reported as eligible, to set up later on in the game
Yeah.
when Caliendo reported as eligible and then went out for a pass.
Yeah.
Caliendo reported as eligible.
Great catch, by the way. That
Absolutely. Caliendo reported as eligible. Kareem Hunt, 4 yards. So he picks up 4 yards, 5-yard pass, 4 yards. Mahomes hits Xavier Worthy for 31 yards. 1st and 10, Kareem Hunt, 5 yards. 2nd and 5, Kareem Hunt, 4 yards. Caliendo reception for 5 yards. Xavier Worthy for 6 yards on 1st and 10. Mahomes to Travis Kelce, incomplete. Xavier Worthy for 14 yards, the little quick slant that Mahomes put right on the one, right on the money, right on the one. And then 1st and 10, Xavier Worthy touchdown. All right, you mixed in some runs. Buffalo goes down and scores. They're up 13-7. Chiefs get the ball. Mahomes incomplete to Xavier Worthy deep. That should have been the big play. Mahomes incomplete. Unnecessary roughness, both sides, the offsetting.
The Trey Smith.
Yep. 3rd and 10, Mahomes sacked. Incomplete, sack. Okay? Next possession. Bills punt, or it gets intercepted. Chiefs take over at the 40-yard line. Kareem Hunt, 2 yards. Okay. Noah Gray, 14 yards. That beautifully set up middle screen. Gray running the route on the play that Travis Kelce runs, but switching it to where that's one to where they may be ready if it's Travis Kelce, but Noah Gray running it. That was brilliant. 1st down and 10, handoff to McCole Hardman for 9 yards. 2nd down and 1, McCole Hardman, no gain. 3rd down and 1, Steele for 2 yards. 1st down and 10, Hendershot, 11 yards. And then they end up scoring with the Noah Gray 2-yard touchdown. Mixing in the run. They come out in the second half, and their first possession of the second half, Kareem Hunt picked up 7 yards. 2nd down and 3, pass to Kelce for 2 yards. 3rd down and 1, Kareem Hunt, no gain. Punt. 1st down, 7 yards. Next possession, Kareem Hunt, 4 yards. Hopkins, 13 yards. Hardman, 12 yards. Kareem Hunt, 6 yards. Mahomes scrambling for 3 yards, holding on Wanya Morris on a pass play.
Yeah.
2nd and 14, incomplete. 3rd and 14, 6-yard pass.
That holding really
Punt.
was the that one killed
Right.
that drive.
It absolutely did.
For a team that's not,
Yeah, it
again,
did.
explosive this year.
It did. And I wonder if Andy Reid had it to do it over again. Was it Tampa or Denver that they came out in the second half and said, bleep it, we're running the football? I think it was Tampa, right? On Monday night where they came out in the second half and it was like handoff, 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 handoff. It was like 7 handoffs in a row and you're like, Andy Reid does this. He'll look at halftime and say, we're not running the ball enough, and then he'll just do it over and over and over and over again sometimes. It's almost like, mixing it up. It was either Tampa or Denver. I can't remember which one it was.
I'm trying to pull it up. For some reason, I went to the Tampa Bay game log, and it showed me the Chargers one because that's
Dummy.
how ESPN.
Why is your thing so stupid?
Well, I don't know. It didn't study very much. It was busy
I get it.
doing silly things.
I know what it was doing in college besides studying. It's a stupid, dumb computer. Let's see. No, it must have been. Oh, no, it was. So here they go. They came out in the third quarter, their first possession, incomplete sack. The next possession, Kareem Hunt 7, Kareem Hunt 9, Kareem Hunt 4, Kareem Hunt no gain, Kareem Hunt 3, Kareem Hunt 8, Kareem Hunt 15. Like he said, bleep it, we're running the ball. I wonder if he had to do it over again.
Pass short right to Samaje P. Ryan touchdown.
I do wonder if Andy Reid had it to do it over again. It's like Kareem Hunt, 7 yards.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Pass play, incomplete, punt. Kareem Hunt, 6 yards. 2nd and 4, pass play, Mahomes scrambles, holding. Now it's 2nd and 14, and then you have a couple of passes that don't get there, and you punt.
They had back-to-back 12-play, 70-yard touchdown. Then that next drive, 15-play, 78-yard touchdown. They took off 6.5 minutes and 8.5 minutes on those two possessions.
Yeah. And then down 23-14 in the fourth quarter, Mahomes threw the short little pass to Carson Steele for 5 yards. Noah Gray for 6 yards. Kareem Hunt broke off the 17-yarder. Now they're down by 9 with 12 minutes to play, so this isn't going to be hey, hand it off 8 times in a row. I totally get that, but still, it's one of those to where in the third quarter, your first couple of possessions, I think if Andy Reid had it to do over again, it would be let's just pound the rock with Kareem Hunt because he's getting 4, 5, 6 yards per touch early downs. Now they called a beautiful play on first down in the second possession when it would have been a long play to Xavier Worthy. They just didn't connect. And now you're looking at 2nd and 10. And you hand off and you pick up 5 yards. And then you don't pick up the first down after that. It's just those things happen along the way. But next time they go up against Buffalo, is that one of them to where they go, all right, we're going to keep pounding the rock with Kareem Hunt. We're going to make you stop it, which means that your defense is going to be out there seeing more plays, and our defense is not going to see 19 extra plays in a game against Josh Allen and the Bills.
And normally they do that against Buffalo. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire games loom large, so that was a little surprising that they went away from it against Buffalo that have had success with in the past.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, and then we'll hear from Andy Reid on the other side of the break. We'll hear from Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best. More Zone next. this Chiefs team is terrible. They're going to lose every single game, and everybody should be fired. That was our general takeaway from yesterday's game. It's all bad, nothing good. And
why can't this team ever have good games?
Yeah, we can't have
when
good
is the
things.
last time they've...
Why can't we have good things, God? Why are we forever cursed? Why hast thou forsaken me?
Or you could be the Giants and sign your quarterback to a $160 million extension and now make him your third-string quarterback and have a younger gunslinger named Drew Lock and say, you know what? No. I raise you a guy about the same age with no upside. Tommy DeVito, you are now the starter.
DeVito.
That's called tanking, Jason.
Maybe. All right, here is Andy Reid in his opening statement today, getting ready for the Carolina Panthers, the Fighting Bryce Youngs.
Don't really have any injury updates for you. We'll just have to see about Pacheco as the week goes on here, Omenihu as the week goes on. As far as the film study of the game, the review feels similar to what I felt after the game. There were some good things that took place, but there were some things that we need to work on, especially when you're playing a good team like that, where every series is an important series, whether you're on the offensive side or the defensive side. And any mistakes can get magnified tenfold because of that. And you've got to make sure that you're sharp, and whether it's assignments or execution, and we can do better in that area. We can do better as coaches of making sure our guys can be put in positions to do better and to maybe back off a little bit on certain things that we've been doing. So to help the players out so that they can play a little bit faster. So anyways, in general, that's what I would tell you on both sides of the ball. I tell you on the special team side, I thought we did some good things, in particular with Spencer and his kicking. I was proud of the kid stepping in. That's a tough environment to step into, and he did well with what we asked him to do.
All right, so there you go. There's Andy Reid's opening statement here in the press conference today, getting ready for the Carolina Panthers and what he saw from the game. I appreciate on the Zoom, with some sounds that take place, because I feel like maybe this is how we should cover press conferences from now on, that as the coach player is talking, maybe we get some right and wrong answers, along the way, of like a ding, something like that, like we heard here just a little bit ago.
We need to work on, especially when you're playing a good team like that.
Yeah,
correct.
Good. That is the correct answer.
You know what? It'd be like around the horn. Tony Reali, we just gave points to Andy Reid. And if
you need to work on, especially when you're playing a good team like that.
Yep, correct. That is right. 2 extra points for Andy Reid. And when he says, looking forward to the challenge of facing off this well-coached, really good team like Carolina, to take a few points away. But
a good team like that.
Very good team. Yep, there are some things you do definitely have to work on against the Bills. A good team, if you see them again.
I wonder if they're well coached.
This is how we should cover press conferences from now on. We should let Dylan know, like, thumbs up or thumbs down, and he could just play the little sounders of, like, ding ding or
like
just like that. See, or sometimes when it's like, ooh, that was a great point. It's like a light bulb coming on. Like an epiphany.
Like.
Or if there's, Andy Reid has some breaking news or some injury stuff, we would just pause. Like, stop, Andy! Then we have the breaking news sounder, and then we would let Andy talk.
I like that noise. It's comforting.
Like
the breaking news or that?
That
Ding.
one.
Like
we could do like the Jeopardy one.
I like that.
When they get one wrong.
We should do during the live press conference, either hit yes or no. Like
right,
when he says, I like this. Yeah, I'm on board.
Point to Dylan, thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up, it's ding. Thumbs down, The Jeopardy sounder when you run out of time?
I'm in.
Done.
You've swayed me.
Done.
Jason.
I don't think anybody would. I think everybody would be on board totally. I think people would totally be on board with that.
Like
See? Dylan says he's on board. There's a ding.
Andy's on board.
There we go. McShafer's on board. He's next. I do like the juxtaposition of reactions after a Chiefs loss. You know, it's been a while since we've done this. 11 months since we've had a conversation about a Chiefs loss. That was on December 26th.
Do we now get sad Chiefs fans?
I don't know. I've been deciding as to
better not.
Been debating as to whether or not. I don't even remember if we did sad Chiefs fans
You
or
should
not.
do happy Bills fans? What would be worse?
Nah, we just do fans. We're doing sappy fans. But the great juxtaposition of the wins and losses, or just the wins, really, of how people
Process
take
them.
in and process. That's a great way to phrase it. How people process the losses, because you've got this battle, just this really pitched battle between one side that's like, all of these things are wrong with the Chiefs. They're screwed. It's all going to be Clark Hunt won't spend money. Brett Veach could have got a cornerback, and he's too scared. And Patrick Mahomes is broken, and the offensive line sucks. We're screwed. And then the other side that's screaming, why are you even criticizing them? Well, they are 9-1. Why are you guys even saying there's anything wrong with this team? This team has one loss. They're back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Why would you question anything about this team? That is this huge fight that has taken place, when in reality, it's somewhere in the middle that doesn't need caps lock or exclamation points. That's just like, yeah, there's some issues there, but, you know, they've won back-to-back Super Bowls, and they certainly could improve on those issues, because if they don't, then it probably will get them in the playoffs. But if they do overcome those issues and another team's flaws come up in that game, they'll probably win that playoff game.
Calmer than you did. Calmer than you
good.
did.
That's a great
That was
one.
great.
That's a good
I
one.
was saying last night, I don't know if this is too laissez-faire about it, but I can't even bring myself to care. Like, at
I feel
all.
like you need to mark that.
Why?
How you said laissez-faire.
Oh, jeez, did I?
Mick just looks over at me and just goes, did he say?
Maybe this is a little too.
I don't know French.
You may
I
have
don't
been
know
too
French either,
laissez-faire
so.
in how you pronounce
Maybe it's a
laissez-faire.
little. Maybe it's a little
Excuse me.
Liz Fair. You know, I don't care who Liz
Oh,
is.
Liz. No, Liz. You don't remember Liz Fair?
I think
I
you're
don't
being a little laissez-unfair to Dylan.
No, Liz Fair. Remember Liz Fair? She sang that one song.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
She did
what
have
was
one
Don't.
song.
that one album with like the guitar. Yeah,
She one-hit wonder.
yeah, she
Yeah,
was the one-hit
maybe.
wonder.
There you go.
What
You
was
should
that
throw that in
song?
there.
It wasn't 100,000 Nights by the Maniac, or that song was.
Yeah, because that would be.
10,000 Maniacs was the name
What
of the
was the
band.
name of the band? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't that song, but what was Liz Fair's song?
I don't know.
Song
We've already
slapped.
spent too much time on it. Clearly, you remember it. Let's hear from Andy
Phonetic
Reid.
does say laissez, so. you
Lazy.
know.
Well, that's lazy though, to go and look at Google and not, go to France and ask them.
Why can't I? That was
That's
the.
why can't I get to these clips from Andy Reid is the question I have. Andy Reid talking in the press conference today. Matt Derrick asked about the missed opportunity with Xavier Worthy on the sideline.
Yeah, if Pat could have seen him earlier, then that's part of it. But once you're there, he could have dragged his foot to keep it in. He'll be able to chalk that one up to experience. But again, what Pat told you is true. And so that combination, those are the little things, though. You're talking about 7 points there against a good football team. So you got to make sure that we take care of business on both ends there.
We'll go next to Jesse Newell. Jesse?
Hey, Kelsey, I have a follow-up too. Hey, Andy, you just said you wanted to back off some things to help your players. Can you just give an example of what you were talking about there?
Yeah, so maybe it's motions or shifts or that type of thing on the offensive side. Spags, I haven't gone through it with him yet, so but they're just they're little things, but sometimes little things can add up.
Great. I wanted to ask you on the 4th and 2, when you're playing a guy like Josh Allen, what's the balance with your defensive lineman between trying to go make a play and then trying to kind of stay in your lane to make sure you can't scramble on a play like that?
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. I mean, it's especially when you're right there, and listen, this was not an effort problem on either side of the ball. It was just an execution part, and you want to try to stay in your lanes. Sometimes when it extends that long, that's a tough thing to tough thing to do. I mean, the guy's moving around, and all of a sudden those lanes become skewed just a little bit. So, but listen, I appreciate the effort on it. The guy made a great play, and we'll go back and learn from the thing and see what we can do better on that.
So, boy, a lot there on that clip. The sideline throw to Xavier Worthy said Pat could have seen him earlier. If he sees him earlier, then throws it maybe a little less, and then follows that up with he also could have dragged his feet.
There's two camps there, and I think there's a right and a wrong camp there. Yeah, he could have
the right
got
camp,
him in the field of play, but
the right camp is Xavier Worthy catch the ball.
He's 5. You see, he's about 5 feet of field left when he has the ball in his hands, and he decides to continue to take the same stride as he had taken the entire way. And they're like, rookie mistake there. And that's not a rookie mistake. They teach dragging your feet in high school and college, even though it's just 1 foot to get in high school and college. It's 2 there. That play floored me, especially after what happened a few games ago, whichever play
Tampa
that
Bay,
was
Monday
in
night.
Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah, I said at worst to me is 70-30. I'd even argue 80-20, that percent blame to go around 70-30 Worthy to Mahomes. That, yes, Mahomes could have thrown it shorter and it could have been a 70-yard touchdown, and that is something that he internally looks at and how does he become better. But the very worst thing on that play should have been the Chiefs' 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Buffalo Bills.
I'm guessing 9 times
at Buffalo.
I'm guessing 9 times out of 10 that is a sideline route to where there is a guy draped there. You have to put it in that window he put it on. Right, and to where, like, okay, the last split second, he could have found out, oh, wait, he has all this room. Because we have to remember, I mean, quarterbacks see the future, right? When they throw it, the guy a lot of times hasn't broke, and the defense hasn't made their breaks yet either. And so, he had plenty of room to drag that foot.
Yeah, and also, like, Mahomes didn't need to throw off his back foot sort of fading away on that either. Like, he could have stepped up into that and maybe sent more of a direct shot to him.
And I feel like I criticize Mahomes more than most people, but that one I'm like, no, that's the receiver. You're in the NFL.
That's what I said.
And
at worst
that ball was right on you, right?
Yep.
You didn't have to contort your body. You didn't have to speed up, slow down. That wasn't. Had he thrown it in the field of play, you would have had to throw behind you. He hit you in stride there, and you decided to continue to stride out.
Yeah, at worst, that should have been a 40-yard catch and 1st and 10 at the Buffalo Bills 30-yard line, down by 2. That should have been the absolute worst. And then you go, man, if he had thrown that a little bit shorter, he might turn that up and
react.
score.
He was just excited he made the catch like he didn't know that it's 2 feet, man.
He also dragged one of his feet before the ball even got to his body. Like he was
so
dragging.
He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows it's too.
I-
If you're dragging, which is actually more impressive that he didn't drop it. You're dragging your feet before you even catch the ball.
Less impressive.
Well, it's more annoying.
To me,
he doesn't even need to drag there. Just chop your steps. Just take less of a stride.
Right.
Take a half stride. You get that toe in.
Yeah, that's pretty simple. You didn't have to have.
He's
toe
not
drag
that.
sled.
He was not that close to the sideline to where you got to drag, and it's just going to be a couple toes, and you're hoping for the tire parts to kick up.
The comment by Andy Reid of doing a little less so your players can have more opportunities, and then Jesse Newell with the great follow-up of saying, hey, what did you mean by that? And he said, oh, just motions and shifts, just back off things like that. That sounds a lot like after the Raiders game when it was like, we should get back to what we know. That's pretty fascinating to hear Andy Reid say, like, we need to do less of the motions and the shifts, and we need to just simply go out there and say, hey, here's your routes, Mahomes, read the defense, throw the ball.
Right. First read, second read, right. Hit your back foot and
fire. That was my issue.
I feel like he knows defenses too well.
That was my issue with the interception.
I liked him better when he didn't know the defenses.
Honestly, when you don't know what you know, when you don't know what you don't know, a lot of times things work out great, like 50 touchdown passes his first season starting.
My issue with the interception to start the game on the second play was not that Mahomes threw it while getting hit, because he makes tons of plays like that, and you live and die with those. My issue is Mahomes took his 3-step drop. There was a lane created on the left side by the offensive line. He's staring at Travis Kelce, who runs a quick slant to the sticks and is standing there, and the nearest defender is 5 yards behind Kelce, and Mahomes looks at him and then looks away. Like, to me, that's the issue, because I believe in Mahomes' mind when after the game he says, we need to have more sense of urgency throughout the game, not just at the end. To me, that's Mahomes early in the game going, I'm looking next level. I can get that 4-yard route right there and get a first down, but can we get a 15-yard play? Can we get a 20-yard play? Okay, now it's an interception. Instead of, here's a 7-yard run to start the game. Here's a 4-yard pass to Travis Kelce. 1st and 10. Now we got a little momentum. Let's get rolling here. And it's an interception.
I love the part of, all these wide receivers know they've got to have a secondary route to where, like, okay, the pocket's broken down. He's scrambling. Where's he at? I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna find a hole in the defense and get open. I feel like that is relied upon way too much. I feel like it's like 80-20 that, and it needs to be the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's one to where I would think in the meetings where Patrick would probably immediately go, that's my bad. Yeah, just throw the ball, get it out.
Get it out.
There was a scheme, there was the play, route was open, throw it, 1st down, let's go.
I think a lot of the sacks he's taken this year have been on him. I think quarterbacks sacks a lot of times are a quarterback stat, and he's made it some.
He's been really good at getting away from pressure. He's also drawn some pressure. And there have been some plays where he didn't have a choice. He just didn't have a chance in some of those things. Andy Reid continued with Pete Sweeney asking him about the lack of production from Travis Kelce and DeAndre Hopkins against the Bills yesterday.
Yeah, well, they bracketed Kels up in certain situations. DeAndre, they tried to do in certain situations. But again, we can work through that part. And, they're not the only two on the field. So the other guys have opportunities when that happens.
It looks like we have just a couple more for you, Coach. We'll go back to Matt Derrick. Matt?
Yeah, Coach, I also wanted to ask about just the pressure you're able to get up front defensively. Last couple of years, you've obviously been second in the league in sacks. This year, it's been more difficult to come by. What's the level of just frustration or disappointment that the front four hasn't been able to get as much pressure as it has in the past?
Yeah, I don't have the numbers for you right in front of myself. Last night probably wasn't as much as we'd like there, but the other games I thought we had done pretty well with that as far as at least hurries for the quarterback. I was pretty happy with that.
The conversation between pressures and sacks, where I think sometimes I think there's some extremes to it. I think one of the extremes is saying, well, pressures don't matter. If you don't get the sack, who cares? If you're just pressuring a quarterback, like sack the guy. Okay, that's what matters is sacking the quarterback. I think that's one extreme.
I think that's wrong.
And I think another extreme is, well, as long as you're pressuring the quarterback, it doesn't matter if you get sacks or not because you're still impacting the play. I think that's too far in a big extreme because a sack can actually end a drive. Like you get a sack on 1st or 2nd down, you pressure them on 1st and 10, and they throw an incomplete pass. Well, now it's 2nd and 10. You sack them on 1st and 10, and now it's 2nd and maybe 16 or 17. There is a difference. Pressuring helps.
Well, Karloff has got a pressure earlier in the second or the end of the first half, right? We were talking about that. Pressure, and Josh Allen was able to roll out and throw an absolute dime to, was it Mac Hollins?
Because Karloftis left his pass rushing lane. He spun inside.
And that was a pressure, but it's not a productive pressure.
Usually, if you throw numbers at it, the sacks are going to come, right? The more pressures, the more sacks. I don't know if it bore out that way yesterday. But that's usually how it works, and one leads to another. Rarely are you getting like 20 pressures in a game and no sacks. Something's bound to happen, but didn't work yesterday. It looked like a veteran quarterback that kind of knew what was coming from that Chiefs defense and Spags, and just kind of made all the right moves, pushed all the right buttons before anybody got to him.
Yeah, it's a surprise that they only have 19 sacks so far this year, just because of. And I know people are like, well, the front four shouldn't be
5 was in one game, right? Against was it the Raiders?
Yeah. It's like, front four shouldn't be a surprise. But no, Spagnuolo creates pressure, gets sacks, has plenty of unblocked guys that get there. It's just not happening this year for one reason or another. And Andy Reid talking about, Kelce and DeAndre Hopkins, that, they were bracketed in certain situations, but that means other guys have opportunities when that happens, and they have to step up and perform.
I don't think Worthy got a target, by the way, after that play. That was his last target.
Yeah, his last reception was the touchdown.
Yeah, and that was his last target.
Nick Jacobs, as they continue with Andy Reid's press conference, asked Andy how to recapture the effectiveness of that fourth quarter touchdown drive that ended in a touchdown to Noah Gray.
Yeah, sure. That was one of the positives, and that's something that I can help with, giving my guys an opportunity to be able to do those things, and I might have been a little too conservative early on, but this is what we're capable of doing, and it's important that we get it down to where we can do that consistently.
And for the rookies and some of the guys who necessarily haven't been a part of these runs that you guys have had over the 5 to 6 years, what do you hope they kind of take away from being in that environment and being in that game?
Yeah, you got to dig in, man. I mean, these should hurt. You spend a lot of time in preparation for these games and effort, and so you got to reach inside as coaches and players, not just the players here, but you got to figure out the problems and then work to solve them. I know I have that kind of locker room, and so I know the guys will do that. I know the coaches will do that too. So, you can't just say everything's going to be okay. That's not how this works. You got to dig in, and it's got to be there's got to be some. You got to check the ego at the door and do some self-evaluation there.
I mean, look, they play in a huge game and an environment like that, it's another one of those to where, you get used to that moment, you get used to those, and the rookies certainly as well. I mean, the Chiefs veterans have been there, done that. That's why I don't know that this is, after the game is over, Patrick Mahomes is like, hey, we'll see you again, to Josh Allen. Travis Kelce gives a little, golf clap, to the crowd, to the Bills fans as the interception happens as he's walking off the field, little golf clap, like, all right, well done, guys. You got us today. We'll see you a little bit. It's the soccer clap when the guy's walking off the field. They get subbed out,
Yeah.
and they give a clap to the crowd of like, "Hey, appreciate it." Right back at you guys. Kelce giving the little, all right, nice job. You got us today.
It probably
We'll see you
bothers
later on.
those fans that the Chiefs are just like so kind of okay.
Yeah, you got us
with that loss. You got us. Yeah,
you got us.
Been here before.
You've yet to beat us where our season is over, but maybe it'll happen this year, maybe not. But you got us
was
today.
Travis Kelce supposed to sit there and watch the confetti rain down on the field?
That would be odd. Well, they
or-
did actually throw confetti. They hung a banner. They're hanging that banner
Okay.
during the bye week. They did that. Last one for Andy Reid was asked about having Kingsley Suamataia being inactive against the Bills.
Yeah, Kingsley's going to be okay. It's just sometimes you got to take a step back, take a step forward, and that's what we felt we needed to do there. So we'll go from there and just see how things work out here as he continues to work forward.
We'll close it out with Seren Petro. Seren?
Thank you, and I'll have a follow-up as well. Coach, to kind of follow up on what Todd was saying, would you have any plans? I know there are several veterans that are out there. Any plans to look at anyone after what you saw, and just kind of your thoughts on Wanya Morris's performance?
Yeah, so I actually thought Wanya got a little bit better this week. He's been doing that for the most part every week, but the injury stepped in on it last week for a while. But I felt like he did some good things for a young guy. He improved and will continue to improve with reps there. But and then as far as a veteran player goes, Veach is always keeping his eyes open. So he would be the one that heads that up, and he's obviously he bird dogs all that.
And then finally, just the undefeated talk. Do you find that it's now gone? It's not something you have to do. You guys have always said, the goal is to win a Super Bowl, but it's whether you talk it or not, it gets thrown at you. Is it a welcome, relief to not have to answer that anymore, or maybe for your team or some of the younger guys to not have to answer those kind of questions anymore?
Yeah, Seren, I don't know that. I mean, my feeling, I don't really care about all that crap. So I just go forward and I try to exhaust what team we're playing, and I present that to the players that way, and I expect them to do the same. So I don't really hear a lot of that talk from them, or really think they care too much about that, other than exhausting yourself the best you can to prepare yourself for that team that's there that week. And then you get to a point where you say, listen, I've done everything I possibly can. Here's the product, and you go play.
Well, they don't have to worry about it anymore. So all the conversation can go away. They can just focus on getting the 1 seed and winning a Super Bowl and not have to worry. I don't think 9-0 and 10-0 is going to be like, oh, wow, this is really mounting. They're really worried about undefeated. I think if you got to 12 or 13, then it starts to become a weekly, almost daily conversation.
This would have trampolined it. This would have vaulted it because you would figure the next 2 were going to be wins as well.
And you'd be
12-0 going into December.
Facing the Chargers at home. 12-0 facing the Chargers at home. Then it's like, all right, now you have to discuss, do we play our guys and try to go undefeated, or do we rest our guys, and does undefeated really matter? You don't have to worry about that. Now you need to worry about winning games to get the 1 seed over the Buffalo Bills and bouncing back and starting this weekend against the Carolina Panthers.
You're only 2 games up in the division, too.
That's right. And you've got a big one with the Chargers in a couple of weeks. And the Chargers, almost chargered. And then they ended up winning last night. The Bengals bingled.
Who would have thought that a good head coach maybe can stop the bleeding, or at least say, hey, guys, calm down? Is that the Harbaugh effect?
I think it was a coaching mismatch last night, especially towards the end there.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, Evan McPherson misses 2 field goals that in today's day and age of kicking, you can't go 0 for 2 on those and still keep a job.
No.
But they paid
Even
him.
if they're 50
They gave him a contract.
Was it 48 and 50?
Yeah.
48 and 51 or something like that. And he missed him left both
How
times.
many possessions were in the last 2 minutes of that game?
It was a
Everybody
lot.
just
Back and forth,
3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
More.
Stopping the clock.
Missed field
More.
goal. Missed
Yeah,
field
more.
goal. And then touchdown by J.K. Dobbins. And I thought J.K. Dobbins was going to slide there at the 1, and then he scored, and I'm like, well, that's the best thing to happen for the Bengals. Aren't going to go and score a touchdown here, but the only chance they had was Dobbins at that point scoring.
See, I didn't know if he was.
Go ahead.
So I didn't know if he was going to slide, because at first I thought the same thing too, and then he just took off. He's like, I'm getting my ass in there. He
scoring.
He Supermaned. That's how you get injured on those plays. That's the one where you land on your shoulder or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little.
See, I was like,
dangerous for JK.
You should have let the Broncos score last week. They wouldn't have. Not everybody's that smart to just slide at the 1. It's hard to resist running into the end zone. But thankfully, the Chiefs didn't let the Broncos score.
They didn't let them
last
score. They
week.
just blocked the kick.
Yeah,
They were like,
they just did that. They had that in their back pocket.
Also, the
You
Bears
fools.
being the Bears. How funny was that? They must not have watched the Chiefs Broncos game at all, because they're like, no, we'll settle for like a 45-yard game-winning field goal. Let's go ahead and just settle for that.
Yeah,
as
settle
that
for
just
it.
proceeds to get just sent back into Cairo Santos.
yeah. He also didn't have to kick it as low as he did. I mean, that kick was incredibly low.
But also, again, it's not a chip shot, so you
No, it's
settle
not.
on a 40-plus yarder.
But you also don't expect that to be blocked
Agreed.
by a guy just jumping.
I just think it's
I don't
silly
think at any
when-
level you should say, let's protect the 40-plus yard field goal.
Yes,
right.
I think that's just.
I see
absurd.
that at the college level quite a bit. Like, you're not really protecting anything here. How about go get another first down?
Yeah,
all right. When you're at the 15, then start protecting stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back and we will get into learned funniest best on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, let's get into a little Learn Funniest Best from the weekend.
Fact.
If you're ready to turn in your house into your dream home, upgrade your bedroom, kitchen, and bathrooms with top-notch craftsmanship, visit Citywide Remodelers. Citywide Remodelers presenting Learn Funniest and Best. It's citywideremodelers.com. All right, we go around the room. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, best from the weekend. What I learned this weekend is that the Utah State Championship, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but in Utah, in the state championship, there's a video that I retweeted. They have a helicopter that is arriving there at the stadium. And the helicopter is getting closer and closer, and there are two players out at the 50-yard line, one for each team at the 50-yard line. The helicopter gets closer and closer and closer, and then it hovers over the 50-yard line, and a football is dropped. And as the football is dropped, the two players, one from each team, start running after it to land on it to recover the football, otherwise known as the coin toss. Instead of the coin toss, they dropped a football, and the captain that recovered the football won the coin toss. And I said, you know what? NFL just do this, and now nobody can lose the coin toss in overtime. So it's perfect. Of course, then you get the XFL when you've got the broken collarbone.
Yeah, it's kind of what they did, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
So
I
don't want to burst your bubble. They did the coin toss before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Porter Ellett put it out, the Chiefs' assistant coach. He's from Utah.
That
the
was
Chiefs,
Porter that put that out there?
Yes. Wow. And then someone's like, hey, they actually did the coin toss beforehand. He's like, yeah, that's what. I think they like in-laws
I never look
there.
at the replies. Never look at the I didn't read the replies.
So, because I was like, there's no way in a state championship game, even in Utah where it's not like it's Texas football, even in Utah, the coaches be like, all right, yeah, let's get our best athletes out there to fight for
what's the
football.
point of doing that then? What's the point of just dropping the game ball and then two guys run after it to recover the
I have no idea.
Utah,
I had
man.
so
What
many
do you
questions
expect?
about that because it's like it was like what November 15th or 16th, and they're doing state championship games already. I guess maybe it's colder in Utah, maybe that's why. And B, it looked like there were about 20 fans there.
Yeah,
especially on one side, there was nobody there. But yeah, in the replies it said that the coin toss had already happened. That's just how they deliver the ball, and they do fight for it.
Seems like a waste of resources to have a helicopter just drop a game ball off when it
Seems
doesn't
like
mean
it.
anything.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Apparently they are swimming in money there in Utah State Championship, whatever class that is. Sterling, what did you learn?
I learned about Hormigas culonas. Anyone know what that is? Want to take a gander at what that is?
Not even going to venture a guess.
Hormigas culonas. Big-ass ants. It's a
okay.
big-ass ant, and it's from Colombia.
Oh, okay.
Not
Glad you said
Columbia,
it that way.
Missouri, but Colombia.
Or
An
Columbus, South
oxymoron,
Carolina.
right? A big ant.
Traditionally from the Bucaramanga area.
You got it. Yeah, you nailed that.
Bucaramanga. There we go.
Yeah.
My friend is married to someone from Colombia, from this area, and it's a delicacy. It's a big-ass ant. And you get it certain months of the year. And these are, I'm talking ginormous ass ants. Like you'll see the ass is like this big. It's like a legit piece of popcorn. And I thought, well,
the ass or the ant is that big?
Both. The ass of the ant it's got an absolute dump truck on this
what
thing.
are we talking about here?
How big's the ant? An inch, a centimeter,
it's
a foot?
It's a big
By
ant.
the way, what's this
how
ant look
big?
like? Is she coming over for Thanksgiving? Like you're talking about what she looks like. I mean, I'm not sure which ant you're talking
bug,
about.
Jason.
Like a Kardashian ant?
It's like a Kardashian ant. If you wanted to put it into perspective.
So did you eat this?
I
ant?
ate one of these Hormungus colonis, and if I didn't know what it was, I would have thought it was popcorn.
Chicken. Oh.
No, everyone always says chicken. Yeah. But it actually would have tasted like it's very crispy. It's kind of a little salty. It's not fried.
Did you have
but
to spit it
kinda
out
cook
though? I mean, because
no.
I don't know that I couldn't do it.
It's a delicacy.
You knew beforehand?
Yes, I at first I said no, thank you. I appreciate it, but I'm okay. And then I go, when's the next time I'm ever going to try hormigas colones? And so I was like, you know what? I'll try it. I'll try it. Why not? And you get it, and it still has like the legs and stuff on.
Does it slap?
Does not slap.
Okay.
It's dead, so it physically cannot slap.
But most food you eat is dead. Yeah. And you were always like, that slaps. That barbecue slaps.
It was fine, better than I expected.
I'm like, does that mean good, Sterling, in your language?
So I learned about.
I would eat one of those just to say I did it.
Yeah.
That'd be
and again, it is a large.
Show me with your fingers.
It's probably like that big.
That seems like it's a medium.
I see what you did there.
It's probably a medium.
I see what you did there. Super small.
Mick,
super small. Smallest thing ever.
Mick, what did you learn?
I learned you can be booked to do play-by-play for a high school football game and not show up. What about you, Dylan? You're up next.
Was that you, Dylan? Dylan, did you learn that too?
No, I did not learn that. I learned that the Grey Cup MVP trophy is smaller than the microphone that the
smaller
announcer,
than the ant that he ate.
That maybe that too. But whenever you have an MVP trophy as a league, after the WNBA kind of got put on blast, maybe we just start making those maybe a little bit bigger as maybe we go forward as these leagues, because every time it happens, you get put on blast on the internet. So the Grey Cup trophy looks like a Pinewood Derby trophy. So.
That ant's butt is like a grape.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a grape.
This looks like there's contents inside of it.
Yeah, I see that.
Grape.
So I have a couple of thoughts. I don't think it should be that hard to make an awesome trophy for a championship.
Yeah.
First of all, just make it really big, right? And nothing crazy. Just kind of a cool little shape, right? Well, I mean, the NFL trophy's great, right? It's just fine. Nothing special to it. NHL's great because it's a big trophy. Also, it shouldn't be that hard to make statues.
Yeah.
And, well, if you screw up, it should be easier to tell that you screwed up. Right? If you make that Dwayne Wade statue, like, we're just going to go back to work. We're going to make statue B for this one.
Try again. Yeah. Mick, why didn't you just do play-by-play of that game on Friday night?
Oh, I had play-by-play. It was just in the visitor stands, and it was not even suitable for the internet. So
it is one heck of a story, man. Some people apparently have got it all figured out.
What a game to miss, though. The best one.
No, there was a game. It's a game right by where he lived, apparently, that he could have done play-by-play for that in Gardner. Sterling, what was the funniest for you?
It's NBA on TNT.
So it was Adam Dravetta, is what I'm saying. Clearly,
good news. NBA on TNT will still be around for the future. They are heading to ESPN for the 25-26 season, so the guys get to hang around. And here's how I found out with one of these tweets.
Disappointing on us. Where they going, Chuck? Galveston. That dirty ass water. We're not even gonna send them to Cancun. We're gonna send them to Galveston where that dirty ass water be washed up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach. Y'all gonna send y'all to Cancun. Y'all drive y'all quit. Drive your ass down to Galveston. Come on, man.
So they're not taking a little.
Come on, they didn't even try, man. We're not getting them no plane ticket to the beach. We send their ass to Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water. Come on, man.
Oklahoma City. 185 in game 3. It's
I love Ernie trying to get back on track with the score, but a team they're doing like the NBA Cup.
I hope
stuff,
ESPN lets those guys be themselves.
It's just so good. I hope so too. Just the whole they didn't try hard enough when you get bounced in the playoffs. They're not going to Cancun, send the ass down to Galveston with the dirty ass water.
He makes fun of so many towns in Texas.
What about San Antonio, Chuck?
What was the funniest for you, Mick?
Just all the memes and all the jokes and all the posts about who Jake Paul is going to fight next.
So good.
One was 100-year-old former President Jimmy Carter. And then the best was the entire cast of Cocoon.
Most of them are dead. Mark them off the
list.
list.
Exactly. He's got a great shot.
Cross him off the list then. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, wow. That was those memes were absolutely great. Who's the next person he's going to fight? The cast of Cocoon. He did say he could beat Tyson in any era of Tyson.
Of course he did. And then they have all the YouTube videos from when he was like a teenager of like dancing to, I don't know, Mariah Carey songs or whatever, Christina Aguilera, and they're like, how do I explain to my kids that this guy beat Mike Tyson?
All right, Dylan, what was the funniest for you?
Some more Grey Cup action. The coin toss had 2 takes, and here's the first and second take.
Please do us the honors. Check. I have to ask, right? Who? What do you want?
You forgot to ask who was kicking and who wanted to receive.
Toronto, you're the visiting team. What's your choice? Heads is called. Okay, Lucas, take 2. Now you can do it. Heads is the call. Okay, it's a tails.
So I just
so they
love that
flipped the coin.
Yep.
Landed. Oh wait, we need to figure out who's gonna call.
Little Namath action, if you remember back in the Super Bowl, he flipped the coin toss for the Super Bowl too quickly before they actually asked whether.
You said
they
Joe
wanted to
Namath
receive.
did?
He did.
Are you
Yes.
saying that he was struggling?
Well, that happens. Yeah, I flipped the coin. Yeah. My funniest is a tweet from Ryan Baldwin that says the U.S. men's national team, Texas A&M, and Jake Paul have all won at AT&T Stadium more recently than the Cowboys.
Wow.
That is awesome. It's all true?
All true. U.S. men's national team, Texas A&M, and Jake Paul have won there in Dallas since the Cowboys have. Best, we start with you, Mick.
This is one I found all by myself. Louisiana volleyball player Sienna DeCambre tore ACL and wasn't playing. They brought her out for match point in a big match against a rival team that they were beating and they were upsetting. The other team was favored to win, and so she served on one knee, on one leg, and it was an ace.
Aced it.
She had to get in position, and it was like they were trying too. It wasn't like we see these before. Usually it's in high school. A girl gets out there, or a guy gets out there, and they tip it to him. He gets to make a layup, make it 2-0, and everybody applauds, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a cool gesture. This is this is at the end. This is for match point.
Against your rival.
Yes.
That was pretty legit. Best for you, Dylan?
KU continuing to play spoiler, beating BYU. That's all we can ask for, and hopefully we can get to go bowling.
I love, and I am in the minority here, I love late night Big 12 football.
I do too, actually.
Oh, my gosh. Fridays and Saturdays, sign me up. It's getting weird, and I like weird.
My best is Lee Summit North taking care of business with Lee Summit, winning by 12, and it really wasn't that close. I mean, it was a flea flicker touchdown and a pick six and a safety is why Lee Summit got their 15 points. So wasn't really all that close. I also learned
Lee Summit's a good team.
I know, and that's how good Lee Summit North is.
A good team.
That's how good Lee Summit North is.
Well, they need to
dominated
finish
that
the
team.
job because they've been good the last few years. Go finish the job.
Well, if they don't have
that's all Mill Valley has left.
If they don't have
is to lose to
official give a player a touchdown on an obvious incomplete pass. I also learned there's a way you can have a safety on your team without the offense being out there or the ball ever actually ending up in the end zone.
I saw that play.
Did you know that? You can get a safety? Lee Summit North intercepted the ball at like the 2-yard line, and a player came over. As they were running for the ball, they collided. The officials called targeting, threw the flag in the end zone.
Let
targeting.
me know if you want to know the real story here because I've seen the video.
Lee Summit North
I'm unbiased.
then returned it for a touchdown.
100 yards.
100-yard touchdown. But the penalty took place in the end zone, so it was a safety after the interception.
So Lee Summit threw a ball in their own end zone,
Yep.
had it intercepted, and ended up getting 2 points.
Yeah.
So what happened? He was at the goal line.
Dylan is so mad. He's been
Oh,
yelling
sorry,
break
yeah, sorry.
forever.
We were talking
and
about
I don't really care
Was
that
it
much.
targeting? I haven't seen the video. Or did they just run into each other going for the ball?
No, I think it should have been. I think the call should have been pass interference because it was happening as the interception was happening.
Yeah.
I don't think it was interception. Guy gets blown up, and I don't know the call.
Sorry, Seren.
Replay should have been better.
That's
Your
weird
best,
that you're complaining about
I'll
a high
get out
school
now.
call this weekend.
Okay, my best was I paid up my bet for Mick, and he got his
cool.
coffee.
Cool.
Yeah, Jim.
Actually, we're not going to be there. We're not going to be able to show up in time. How are we supposed to park and get there in time to go and call a high school football game?
It was all Nat sound. It was a announcerless camera moving back and forth.
At least it had that part of it to where you had the visual to it, but still. Chad Rader's good at what he does and cares about what he does, and then to have something like that happen, it's unfortunate. Unfortunate loss for the Chiefs yesterday, but they'll be fine. They will be fine.
9-1.
9-1.
That's the way they played. Those 10 games. That's the best they could do, I would say.
The Chiefs with the loss fall to the 1 seed, so there is some issues. There's some issues moving forward. We'll see. Program next.